bad matchup for Mark Hunt because of my wrestling, my length, and my youth, and all those factors are going against him. I think that's enough for me to get the W.
Curtis thinks he's gonna come and take my spot, but Curtis is gonna get knocked out today.
No one's ever out-techniqued me. I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna take him into the deeper water. I'm gonna take him to a place his body doesn't want to be, and I'm gonna finish him.
Esos son los pensamientos y los deseos de Luco. Vamos a ver si él logra que hoy yo me arrepiento de estar en ese lugar.
Well, the UFC has been omnipresent across this great nation over the last several years, but tonight, reason to celebrate in WA as the MMA leader descends upon Perth for the very first time. And live from Perth Arena in Western Australia, this is UFC 221, Romero versus Rockhold. Presented to you by AirAsia. Connect to over 130 destinations across Asia, Australia, and beyond. With the world's best low-cost airline, now everyone can fly. Also, closed captioning is available for tonight's telecast. What an atmosphere here in Perth, Western Australia tonight. And with that, thank you for being with us for UFC 221. I'm John Anik. So 18 years ago, Cuba Yoel Romero won an Olympic silver medal in freestyle wrestling, and since crossing over to mixed martial arts, he has been just as dominant. Tonight, this 40-year-old #1 contender was hoping to add a UFC championship. Yesterday, though, he missed weight, which means only one man, the former undisputed champion Luke Rockhold, will have a shot tonight at the UFC's interim middleweight title. Thrilled to welcome in my man Jimmy Smith for the first time. Not a bad opening assignment for you, my friend.
It's a great one. You and the UFC fans have made me feel very welcome. Great to be here.
We are honored to have you here, and let's get to Yoel Romero. Hopefully fight night goes better than weigh-in day. 8-1 in the UFC, but few wins would be bigger than the one he can get tonight.
He has to mentally get over the fact that he did not make weight. The title's not on the line. Doesn't matter. He still has the same opponent in front of him, and he still brings the same skill set, whether it was wrestling or MMA. Explosive, dynamic, powerful with his takedown, with his strikes. He lures you to sleep, and then he puts you to sleep with the flying knees, the knockouts, the ground and pound. He is incredibly vicious from all angles. Do not sleep on Yoel Romero in any position. That's what makes him so dangerous as a contender and such a monster at 185 pounds. But Luke Rockhold, speaking of monsters in the middleweight division, incredibly rangy, technical, great kicks, outstanding accuracy, well-rounded. But I think his real superiority is on the ground, on top. When he gets on top of you, not only his submission skills, his ground and pound is devastating. He has to stay on top. From the outside, he's going to pick you apart, and from on top, he destroys you. And he's angry about Yoel Romero not making weight. He comes in with an extra little chip on his shoulder tonight.
This rivalry has definitely gained some traction here in Perth. You see the weigh-in here, intense stare down. Now, Rockhold has tried to occupy some space inside Romero's head this week, Remains to be seen as to whether or not he accomplished that, but he will be getting 30% of Yoel Romero's fight purse here tonight after Romero weighed in at 187.7 pounds. That brings us to the co-main event. An opportunity knocks for the American Curtis Razor Blades tonight on the road. He takes on the king of the walk-off KO, Mark Hunt.
Yeah, Mark Hunt brings power that no one else has in the division. And what's great about it is his ability to throw it from short range. Look at these shots, uppercuts, hooks, range where a grappler thinks they are safe. You are not. You are in the path of a bulldozer. Every time he throws has dynamite in both hands, and past in his career, the only guys who beat him were guys against that he was not favored. He doesn't play down to his opposition. He doesn't overlook anyone. He says every fight for me is survival, and it should be for Curtis Blades. He said, hey, it's not rocket science. I'm not going in here and trying to trade punches with Mark Hunt. I'm going to take him down, use my top control, use my ability to wear fighters out. Look at the blast double leg he has. That is very rare in the heavyweight division for a wrestler. Also, against Francis Ngannou, one of the most feared strikers in the division, he stood toe-to-toe. The doctor had to come in and stop the fight. He stepped in with no fear. That's amazing. This kid has heart.
And he has also showered Mark Hunt with praise and respect throughout fight week. That goes out the window tonight when they close the octagon door behind Curtis Razor Blades and Super Samoan Mark Hunt. Well, as many of you know, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the UFC here in 2018. And to that end, we will continue to help commemorate this milestone all year long. It's hard to believe it was only 8 years ago that the Octagon made its first jaunt to Australia, February 2010 in Sydney. It was UFC 110, Nogueira versus Velasquez. No surprise, of course, that tickets sold out the first day they were available. And in that main event, Cardio King knocked out the legend Nogueira in the first round. He moved to 6-0 in the UFC, set up his first UFC heavyweight title shot later that year. And tonight, we hit Western Australia for the first time, all told, our 12th live event in this beautiful MMA-crazed nation. And I know you have felt that firsthand this week. They are all about mixed martial arts down here.
The fans here, you know when they support a guy because they are not quiet. All the local fighters, they're going to feel that energy.
All right, we are ready and raring to go from Western Australia tonight. Several great matchups coming up. The rest of the card is brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3. Available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. In the heavyweight division, so far so good for New South Wales' Tai Tuivasa. He produced a first-round knockout in his UFC debut. And tonight, under the big card spotlight, he'll try to move to 9-0 against the affable veteran Cyril Asquer out of France, who is showing his best UFC form of late with wins and finishes in 2 of his last 3. Also ahead, high stakes for 2 all-action welterweights. Still just 23, the Aussie Jake Matthews, coming up on his 9th UFC appearance tonight, and he is the home underdog here against Beijing's Li Jingliang. The Leech has powered his way to 4 consecutive wins to set up the biggest fight of his career here in Perth. But coming up next, fighting out of Sydney, Australia, the hopes are high for Tyson Pedro, who has the size and the skills to be a real problem at 205 pounds. Tonight, his problem is the returning Saperbek Safarov, a Russian finisher who will try to make up for lost time and spoil the party here down under. The rules of the Octagon are brought to you by Hudson Shipping Lines. Shipping innovation. 3 judges score the bout. The bout duration is 3 5-minute rounds. For championship fights and all UFC main events, we go 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must-scoring system is in effect. The round winner gets 10 points, his or her opponent 9 or fewer, and scoring is based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression, and then Octagon control in that order. A lot to do here in Western Australia. Ningaloo Reef on the mid-north coast, easily accessible from the shore, home to manta rays, sea turtles, dolphins, hundreds of different fish. Jimmy Smith will be back to swim with the dolphins, you can be sure. All right, with the table set, we are now ready to go with the main card from Perth. Good to have you with us tonight here on pay-per-view. And in a wide-open weight class, light heavyweights Tyson Pedro and Saperbek Safarov are hungrier than ever to prove here in Perth that they are the force to contend with moving forward. With 6 first-round finishes, Tyson Pedro isn't interested in overtime in the octagon. But if there's anyone who can push the rising star, perhaps it's gritty Russian Saperbek Safarov, who has 7 opening round finishes in his own right, as well as the willingness to go into deep waters.
I have a feeling Safarov's going to try and wrestle me, just try and grab and hold on and hope for the best, but I'm going to beat him up and make him pay for it.
Для меня этот бой очень важен. Почему? Потому что Тайсон Педро занимает 13-ю строчку UFC. Это большой шанс для меня подняться и заявить о себе.
A master of sport in wrestling and combat sambo, Saperbek Safarov is not afraid of getting into the pocket and throwing down, with 6 wins by knockout to prove as much. And while he didn't get the win in his UFC debut against John Vellante, their fight of the night performance guaranteed that we'd see Safarov again.
Хотя я не был готов к этому бою, но на каждый бой я проявляю характер и стараюсь выкладываться на все 100.
Leading the charge for the next generation of Australian MMA fighters in the UFC, enter Tyson Pedro, who has opened his UFC tenure with finishes of Khalil Roundtree Jr. and Paul Craig. And in this, his first fight at home in more than a year, he wants to add to that total with style points.
I want to show the world that I've improved a lot, but also being back on home soil, I've got my song ready for you guys, so you better sing along.
So here's the Dagestan-born Saperbek Safarov, 8-1 for his mixed martial arts career. We haven't seen him since that fight of the night against John Vellante. That was December of 2016.
And bear in mind that finishing ability, 8 wins, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. Last fight was his first loss. Mentally, how do you bounce back from that? That could be the story of this fight for both fighters.
So he ends about a 14-month layoff here tonight, dealt with some injuries, but he is healthy. He is ready to go here tonight, and an opportunity against a highly touted guy in Tyson Pedro. The book on Safarov, he brings a lot to the table, obviously credentialed in Russia in hand-to-hand combat and combat sambo. Strategically, most people expect he's going to try to change levels here pretty early, or not necessarily?
It's certainly possible. What I expect strategically, everybody should look out for is a fast start.
Yeah.
Last time he had a fast start, but you know he kind of wore down as the fight progressed. He needs to have a fast start, but pace himself well. That's the balance for Safarov tonight.
This fighter description brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV. Can't do better than a 100% finishing rate. 7 of those 8 finishes have come in round 1 for the former Russian combat sambo champion Saperbek Safarov. And another road date for him. He fought John Vellante in his home state of New York and now hits Australia to take on Tyson Pedro. This is a no-nonsense athlete, and I think one who will have taken advantage of the experience gained in that Vellante fight several months ago.
That's for sure, and he's used to being a road warrior. You talk about hometown crowds, trust me, he doesn't hear them.
Saperbek Safarov, a plus 225 underdog here tonight, as he touches down on the greatest proven ground in the sport here for a second time. No denying the knockout power, big overhand right. We'll see if Saperbek Safarov can find a home for it against Tyson Pedro. So here he is with much fanfare, the unflappable Tyson Pedro. Didn't take him very long to vault into the rankings at number 13 in the world. He makes the walk for his 4th UFC appearance tonight.
When you talk to Tyson Pedro, what's so great about him, look at that smile, that enthusiasm he brings. He's happy to be here. It's a great opportunity. Hey, did your last loss, does it bother you? Was there pressure being undefeated? He just smiles and goes, no, not really. I can't wait to get in here and do it. It's that kind of enthusiasm that makes him fun to watch.
And I'm being told he is undefeated when this is his walkout song to the octagon. So he's 2-0 as an underdog in the UFC, 0-1 as a favorite. Last time out against Alir Latifi, told us a valuable 15-minute learning experience for him.
Yeah, he said, I worried too much about what my opponent was going to do. And what that does is it makes you hesitate. You're waiting for that jab you saw on tape over and over. You're not thinking about what you need to do. He says, I'm not doing that again.
A lot of our avid fans know the book on Tyson Pedro. His father, John, owned King of the Cage in Australia, so fighting was literally the first thing that Tyson Pedro learned. He's been watching high-level guys in the UFC in the gym since he was a kid. Cornered James Tahuna in the UFC back in the day, so don't let the lack of pro experience or the age 26 fool you. This is a credentialed light heavyweight who a lot of people think eventually is going to work his way to that top 5, if not a shot at the title.
And if he wants that, he needs a dominant performance tonight. I don't think winning a decision is what he wants to do. He'll be disappointed if we see the final bell tonight.
Black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you're right. When you're entrenched as a 3-1 or so favorite, the expectation is not just for a points win, it's for a statement-making one, and Tyson Pedro will certainly try to produce that here in short order. Tonight's Vegas odds brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV. So Pedro, the -285 favorite tonight. Saparbeg Safarov, the +225 underdog. All right, the light heavies are in the octagon. Let's get to the tail of the tape here. Tyson Pedro, 26 years old. Saparbeg Safarov is 31. Pedro, the taller man by 2 inches. He will have a 1-inch reach advantage against Saparbeg Safarov. All right, now for the official introductions, we turn it over to the venerable Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Perth Arena down under in Perth, Western Australia for UFC 221, Romero versus Rockhold. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a wrestler holding a professional record, 8 wins, 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 204 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Makhachkala, Russia, Saparbeg Safarov. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 6 wins, 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Sydney, Australia, Tyson Pedro! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Peter Hickmott.
Peter Hickmott, our referee for this one. Red De La Cruz getting us started for round 1. Just the 3rd full training camp for Tyson Pedro without a job on the side, and the results have certainly picked up given that attention to detail. He spent a lot of time at Jackson Wink MMA in the past, not so much for this training camp, but fully plans to get back to Albuquerque, New Mexico in the not too distant future. All right, Safarov in red, the prohibitive favorite, Tyson Pedro in black.
I'm curious who comes out and initiates in this first round. Both these guys really good with the power hand, but I like Tyson Pedro's jab to start out with. Wow, that's a leg kick.
Good sign for Safarov early as he tries to control Tyson Pedro here on the ground.
See Pedro trying to get to the fence where he can back walk and get up.
Safarov, master of sport and wrestling and combat sambo. Been in this position a lot in his lifetime.
Sambo, a lot of leg locks, good positioning, a lot of big throws. Tyson Pedro able to get back to his feet. There he is. Nice angling off the cage, good footwork. It's not just about getting underhooks and pummeling and stopping the takedown. Angle to get out of that position, that's what he did.
Pedro, 6 pro wins, all of them in round 1, the longest of which 4 minutes and 10 seconds against Paul Craig last March at UFC 209 in Vegas.
You see what Safarov's doing? He's not committing with the takedown. He's waiting for a leg kick and reacting off that.
Safarov loaded up on that left hand, nothing doing.
Easy telegraph on that. See if Tyson Pedro sticks behind the jab instead of the kicks, because that's what Safarov is looking for the takedown. Both attempts have been off kicks. Nice right hand. Has grazed the ear. Another good one.
Safarov's got a hell of a chin as he returns fire. About 2 minutes gone, round one. There's a shot, a wayward run from Safarov, nothing to it.
No setup on that takedown. Dove from the outside. Another good right hand. And the power disparity very evident here. Tyson Pedro definitely more heavy-handed so far.
And a nice kick to the top of that lead leg from Pedro to Safarov.
Safarov, his physical position is one of a counter puncher or someone waiting to set up a takedown.
Nice uppercut from Safarov, followed it up with a stiff left. Just over 2 minutes here to go in round one of a possible three.
Another good right to the temple. Safarov swinging back hard.
Big knee from Tyson Pedro.
We talked about the chin of Safarov. You were right. Ooh, this guy's got a chin on him. The problem is, but when it hasn't been off a leg kick or a body kick, the takedown hasn't been set up well. It's kind of, he's just diving after it. It's not going to work on a guy like Pedro, who has good reflexes for this size.
That was to the back of the head.
A little surprised we didn't see a break there. Referee was on it, but he lets the action keep going. Going for a switch position. It's hard to do when the head's on that side. Now we can. Now going for the Kimura trap. Nice one. Ending up on top. He might get it. This is bad. Stepping over the head. That's it.
Yes, he did. Tyson Pedro by submission. Wow.
In a fight that looked like it was going to be a kickboxing match, he gets the Kimura finish. Beautiful roll through, stayed on top. And you'll see in the replay that step over the head. That was beautiful. Love seeing that.
And Pedro certainly earned that standing ovation from the masses here in Perth. Jimmy, talk us through the finish.
End up with a Kimura sweep right here. He ends up catching the arm. Went for the switch briefly right here. That's a switch going underneath the leg. Then he goes for the Kimura. There's the switch position. It's hard to do with the heads on that side. And then look at this, right to the Kimura sweep, bang. From this point, there's no choice for Safarov but to roll forward. And once he's on top, now watch the left leg. When that hooks the head, that's when you really get your hips in on it, and it is over. Excellent technique on that sweep. Great patience with it. And never lost top position. He didn't get over anxious. He remembered to step the leg over. A lot of people forget that step. And there's a tap with the right hand. That is all she wrote. Another finish in the first round for Tyson Pedro.
And this is a credentialed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. We mentioned the black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. 5th career win by submission for Tyson Pedro. 71% of his pro wins by submission, and a big one tonight against Saperbek Safarov. To make it official, we go inside to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Peter Hickbott has called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes, 54 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a Kimura, Tyson Pedro.
Perth, Western Australia. How about the deafening roar for Tyson Pedro? Sean Sullivan just said that is one dangerous man. No argument for me. Congratulations on a huge win tonight, my friend.
Man, thanks for making noise, Perth. First time here, awesome reception. How bad is this? I told you we're gonna come put on a show even though Rob wasn't here. How you liking it so far? Hectic.
You certainly got this pay-per-view off to a rousing start. We're going to show you the highlights, Kimura sweep, and eventually Safarov was forced to tap. Talk us through the transition, if you would.
Man, we haven't practiced Kimuras at all, but he was just real low on it, and I felt he wasn't grabbed on there. Yeah, thought he was getting tapped, so I stepped over and he cranked it right back. See, he's got pretty hard hits for a dad bod.
There have been a lot of expectations placed upon you from the minute you stepped inside this octagon. You have lived up to them largely every step of the way. You came in number 13 in the world. How soon might you get back in here?
I'm actually holding an injury at the moment. on to the next. But I'm a simple man, so I'm going to go home, make love to my wife, go real fast on my motorbike, drink a generous amount of beer, get that title, get 1 million followers, and get on the Joe Rogan podcast. Mic drop.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tyson Pedro!
A Joe Rogan podcast call out. First time I've ever heard that, Joe. Put this guy on. That's a traditional post-Australian celebration, by the way. Great job by John Anik catching that mic. Good hands, my friend. Beautiful stuff by Tyson Pedro. He has a right to be excited.
And you never know what guys are dealing with when they walk inside that octagon. Tyson Pedro not at 100% tonight. But what a victory for the 26-year-old out of Sydney, Australia. Here now a look at the upcoming schedule over on our streaming service, UFC Fight Pass. Black Belt Week, including originals and live action, begins this Monday on Fight Pass. Then Friday, February 16th, more live action, Glory Kickboxing and Titan FC. One night later, Saturday the 17th, a submission grappling doubleheader. And then on Sunday the 18th, Austin, Texas, we will have the UFC Fight Pass prelims beginning at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Download the UFC app today. All right, coming up next here, another showcase in Australia for the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews, now plying his trade up at welterweight. We'll see if he can cool off the Leech, Li Jingliang, who is the betting favorite tonight, as the Leech goes for a 5th consecutive UFC win. Long celebrated as one of the world's prettiest cities, Perth is striding confidently onto the international stage as a leading player in Australia's cultural, hospitality, and event scene, with UFC 221 now joining those ranks. UFC 221 from Perth, Western Australia is brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3. Available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Hudson Shipping Lines. Shipping innovation. And by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV. 90 seconds to go in our opening round.
Goes the Reem! Outstanding! Do you want to take a chance and risk getting knocked out? Unbelievable! And this is a very, very interesting matchup that we're about to see.
I can't wait for this fight.
They're telling us we ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, man! Oh, that looks good! This is what I dreamed into reality.
A lot to see and do here in Western Australia. Fremantle, a major Australian port city located at the mouth of the Swan River. The harbour serving as the port of Perth. It was the first area actually settled by the Swan River colonists all the way back in 1829. Tonight's broadcast of UFC 221 is available in high definition, brought to you by Fetch TV, an official broadcast partner of the UFC. Bringing you live pay-per-view plus loads more UFC action. Get all your entertainment in one place with Fetch. Man, are we off and running on pay-per-view. We now move on with a welterweight fight that I think jumped off the card for a lot of fight fans. Li Jingliang could be the most underrated threat in the division. But if he secures a 5th straight win tonight over Jake Matthews, the weight class is elite. Will have no choice but to take notice. With 10 wins in his native Australia, Victoria's Jake Matthews has proven to be a very tough out at home. But if anyone has been a successful road warrior in the UFC, it's the hard-nosed and hard-hitting Li Jingliang, who may just be able to parlay a win over Matthews into a spot in the welterweight top 15.
在未来冠军是我的目标，然后今年我就想杀进前10。
To be a pioneer of Australian MMA, it's a big honour. We don't take it lightly, any of us Australian fighters, so we're all going to go out there and put our hearts and souls into it.
A Chinese fighting pioneer, Li Jingliang had a quiet start to his octagon run, but since his first-round knockout of Anton Zafar in 2016, the Leech has been anything but quiet, with 3 more wins over Bobby Nash, Frank Camacho, and Zach Otto, cementing his place as a welterweight to be reckoned with.
转正呢，就像就是还是一样，证明我中国力量，证明我自己。
After a roller coaster start to his UFC career at lightweight, Jake Matthews made a return to the division where he made his name, and the positive results were immediate as he defeated Bojan Velichkovic, and in so doing, put the division on notice that he is coming.
I believe the welterweight division is the most talented at the moment, with the most exciting fights, and I believe I can mix it up with the best.
Well, Jimmy Smith, to know the leech is to love the leech. Li Jingliang making the walk for his 9th UFC appearance. This is the most accomplished Chinese fighter to have ever crossed into the octagon.
And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for having so much support. It's his offense. His right hand is piston-like. He goes to it over and over, and he knocks guys out with it. His willingness to walk through his opponent's offense in order to land the big punch. He will take one to give 3. That is what has made him great so far in his octagon career. Fearless and willing to go through punishment. Fans love it.
He is the 2nd China top team rep to make it into the UFC after Tia Tren Zhang did it back in the day. He's got a knockout in 4 of his 6 UFC wins, the last of which a seminal moment in his career really against Zach Otto. Co-main event, our first show in Shanghai, and China's biggest UFC star left that night as the night's biggest star.
When you see a right hand take a guy off his feet, you know there's power behind it.
Right. Jingliang, training out of China top team, also spends time at Phuket top team. He's won 4 in a row, and you gotta think he might have a number next to his name if he can come through as a slight favorite here tonight against Jake Matthews. Heavy hands, heavy kicks, really everything he does has weight behind it.
And remember, he spent so much of his career at 170 pounds. That is important. Matthews coming up, started his UFC career at lightweight. Li Jingliang very strong at 170.
And speaking of which, here is the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews, also making his 9th UFC appearance tonight.
In his last fight, the important thing to me in the Velikovic fight was he went to his takedown. He said, hey, that fight was a job. I wasn't in there to have fun. I wasn't trying to show what I could do. All I wanted to do was win. But I feel like now the pressure is off. I can go in there, open up my offense, and really show the fans what I have at 170.
Jake Matthews in the inspection zone here. This fighter description brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV. So here's the book on Jake Matthews, the Celtic Kid, with his father Mick in his corner. Youngest fighter on the card tonight at 23, made his UFC debut, of course, at 19. A lot of finishing skills and coming off a big win over Bojan Veličković back in November.
You want to hear an interesting stat?
I do.
He started out at 19, 5'9". Now he's almost 6 foot.
Wild.
He basically grew up in the UFC. Like, he had a growth spurt. He wasn't done growing. That's amazing when you think about it. He started so young that he's had to kind of learn on the job. Still a young man, even though he's experienced.
And you can see the physical maturation, but it is pretty remarkable that a guy has grown 2.5 inches since his UFC debut, which was back in 2014. Triangled Deshaun Johnson that night. Matthews started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 15 years old, was playing Aussie rules football, but fell in love with MMA, crossed over at that point in time, and never looked back. And of course, the leech, Li Jingliang, tied for the most welterweight knockouts since 2014 with 4, and has one of the more active winning streaks in this division as well. We will see tonight if Li Jingliang can keep it going on the road against Jake Matthews. All right, let's get to the tail of the tape for this one. To be contested at 170 pounds, Jake Matthews still just 23. Li Jingliang is 29. The leech taller by ½ an inch. Both fighters making weight with relative ease. Jake Matthews will have a reach advantage of 1.5 inches. All right, now to get this fight started with the official introductions, we go inside the octagon to the veteran voice. He is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 14 wins, 4 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Beijing, China, Li the Leech Jingliang. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 12 wins, 3 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 and 1/2 inches tall, weighing in at 170 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Epping, Victoria, Australia, Jake the Celtic Kid Matthews. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Simpson.
Mark Simpson, our referee for this one. Jake Matthews, 12-3 against the 14-4 Li Jingliang. Big fight at welterweight, and it is now underway. Jake Matthews is in blue, the Leech is in red.
Now, looking at his frame right now in the center of the octagon, it's amazing. This guy fought at 155.
Yeah.
Matthews is not a small welterweight.
This his second fight back at 170 pounds after a 4-3 stint in the UFC at lightweight.
What's interesting to me, if you look at both of these fighters, both guys have had their opportunities where they were ahead and made a mistake and it cost them. Against Nakamura, Jingliang was winning that fight, got his back taken and got choked out. Jake Matthews against James Vick, same thing, was doing well, fell right into a guillotine. Both guys know what it's like to rush, make a mistake, and end up the loser. That stings and it stays with you.
A lot of folks felt like they had a pretty good grasp on this fight stylistically, that Matthews would try to grapple and not stand on a napkin in the center of the octagon with Li Jingliang.
When he talked about it, him and his father talked about, hey, in sparring, I was hurting guys. I wanted to go in and really do damage. That's what I want to do in this fight. Nice right hand. They didn't talk about the takedown, the grappling, as much as they talked about the striking. So far, he looks sharp.
Left hand lands over the top for Jake Matthews, and you also don't know with developing fighters how many strides they can make in a 6 or 8 month absence or training camp. So
yeah, he's still young. He's still developing. Nice right hand over the top.
Jingliang able to react quickly and not get completely knocked down.
This is what I meant earlier about Jingliang's willingness to walk through punishment in order to deliver his own strikes, but he can't do too much of it.
Matthews looking as confident as he ever has in there tonight. About 2 minutes gone by in round 1 of a possible 3.
Right hand, kind of a clubbing shot. That's what drove Jingliang to the ground. Jingliang not backing off. Certainly not intimidated so far by the power of Matthews.
Matthews' father, Mick, his head coach, says, I had these kids jumping off cliffs before they could walk. And of course, he had his son in the UFC at 19.
We're not encouraging that as parenting, by the way.
Not necessarily.
Make the kid jump off, but generally, it worked for Matthews. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, you want him to be comfortable being uncomfortable. The Leech trying to close the distance here.
I think it was a little bit of a clash of heads on the way out. Head caught him on the chin. But Jingliang really yet to find his offense. Good short right over the top. Oh, another good shot by Matthews.
The Leech goes down, Wisely goes to the up kick. But the power of Jake Matthews on full display here early as he seamlessly transitions to the mount.
Beautiful mount transition, and he is not thinking submission, John. He is going ground and pound from the outset. Jingliang hanging onto the hips. That's not what you want to do. All it's going to do is burn your arms out. It won't get you out of mount. It'll protect your head for a minute, but you have to escape. He's got to get his hips moving, and right now they are going nowhere. Impressive stuff so far from Matthews. And he's on the back, extending the hips of Jingliang. Rear naked choke comes from the hips first. Get your opponent extended. Matthews knows that. Great first round so far.
Well, and if he wanted to show off the strides he's made as a striker, mission accomplished here through about 4 minutes. But a very good submission game as well. Let's see if he can get under the chin of the Leech here.
Jingliang playing defense so far. And right now, a minute left, you're thinking, look, I just want to get out of this round.
4 rear naked choke victories for Jake Matthews coming in.
He's got to scoot out, try to get his back on the ground, on the mat. So far, he's not doing that. You see, he's setting up the arm triangles there, right here. See how the arm is close to the neck, meaning if he turns to his right to flatten out. Yeah, he's saying he's holding his glove now.
Yeah, he was.
And I probably would too, I'm not gonna lie. He's in trouble. Look at that hip pressure. He's in arm triangle position. if Jing Liang tries to turn to his right, the arm triangle is there. Don't think that Matthews doesn't know that. Great stuff so far. Celtic Kid, really impressive.
Matthews, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Carlos Vieira.
By the way, as a Lakers guy, it hurts to say that. I know you're a Boston guy, but I will call him the Celtic Kid. I'll do it.
So Jake Matthews, a man on a mission here early tonight as a slight underdog. He is putting it on Li Jingliang, who's got some work to do if he's going to extend this 4-fight winning streak. Wow.
Couldn't ask for a better first round from Jake Matthews. And it wasn't the grappling that we knew he had. It was the striking that was so sharp. That cuffing right hand followed by the left right on the jaw. Knocked him off balance and then bang. Just clipped the chin and took him off balance. That first right hand was right by the ear. Probably took a little of his balance and the left on the chin. That combination did it. Neither punch was huge, but both of them together, balance was gone.
Keep moving. Don't hover. Yeah? Distance, throw those long straights straight down the barrel. Weave out. Don't let him come in tight to you. Catch him with those long shots. That's where you're getting him. Yeah? Keep those hands up, though. Come on. All right? Hands up.
Let's go, Jake. Next Sunday, wrap up your weekend with a fantastic FS1 UFC Fight Night. The main event, Donald Cowboy Cerrone takes on the all-action Hawaiian Yancy Medeiros. Plus, the Black Beast Eric Lewis faces Poland's Marcin Tybura. It's FS1 UFC Fight Night, Cowboy versus Medeiros next Sunday, 9 Eastern, only on FS1. And you got to think lesser welterweights might have already been knocked out, but Li Jingliang showing some pretty good recoverability to stay in this fight. So here we are, round 2, Matthews in blue, the Leech in red.
And excellent composure. He never panicked. He was able to stay defensive. He knew the clock was winding down. Very high fight IQ by Jingliang.
Now, I know when you sat down with Matthews on Thursday, as I was stuck in Brisbane, he also talked about some hip issues in the past that he has had. They had to shave it down at one point in time. So he has dealt with some adversity. Just
nice uppercut on the way in. That hurt Matthews, but he keeps going. Going hard for the guillotine. Trying to get his hips involved. He needs to step over to really get this guillotine. Getting the hips involved from guard now. It's tight. This might be it.
And again, he is grabbing the gloves, and that is tough, man. I mean, he gets out of the choke essentially by committing a foul.
And the referee said, get your fingers out of the eyes. His eye is bleeding badly. That is unbelievable. He was able to get out of submission with that. Oh my God. They're showing me a replay that is hard to watch, folks. You'll get to see it in a minute, but I don't believe that. And right in front of the leg. Wow, I can't believe he got out of submission with that. It is blatant from the angle we have it.
So the Leech seemingly getting away with a clear and blatant foul.
Bad one.
To prevent Jake Matthews from finishing this fight. We'll see how the Celtic Kid can respond.
Oh, good right hand over the top. Another good left.
Don't make Jake Matthews angry. Just over 3 minutes here, round 2. Wild fight.
Yeah, Jingliang, though, still stalking forward. Has confidence in his power. He knows that can get him back into the fight. And last comment on the foul, that tests your mental maturity, because, hey, that was the pass. He got out of submission, put his finger in my eye, great. It sucks, but you can't dwell on that. You have to get back into the fight. So far, it looks like Matthews is.
Right, Matthews didn't dwell on it and got right back to the game plan. Coming up on the midpoint here in this second round. The Leech giving different looks here on the feet.
He's doing with that lead right. He's got to get out of this position. Can only move his head so long. Good job getting off the fence. But Jingliang is going back to the one thing he knows can turn the tide, the power of his right hand.
Yeah. The Leech getting a little bit wild on the feet here. Matthews misses with a right hand over the top. Under 2 minutes now in round 2.
A little fatigue from Matthews. Breathing heavy.
He's put a lot of effort into this first round and a half. Especially the guillotine, that's a submission. If you don't get it, it burns your arms out.
Right. Unofficially, just one submission attempt for Matthews thus far.
I think without that foul, he finishes the fight. That looked really tight.
And you do wonder, even if Li Jingliang wins this fight, if there might be a no contest overturn.
That would be tough.
Nice counter shot to the upper chest lands for Matthews. A lot of fighters would have at least registered a complaint. I mean, Jake Matthews didn't even...
A lot of fighters would still be screaming at the referee, trust me. They'd still be arguing about it.
And he just kept
fighting.
He
just went right back to work, which very professional of him.
If you did a split screen of Matthews in his UFC debut compared to now, I think it would blow you away.
Oh, that's his little brother. That's exactly what you would think. Good head movement, nice counter punching. And daring him to punch him. If Mark Hunt is watching this in the dressing room, he's cheering. He loves this.
Yeah.
It's right out of his book. Come on.
I think it's hard not for anyone to be inspired by this effort tonight. 9th UFC appearance for both Jake Matthews and the Leech Li Jingliang. As we wind it down here in the second round.
Good head movement so far. Jake Matthews very good at slipping punches, and he's needed it. Because Jingliang is coming forth, throwing a lot.
Furious pace through 10 minutes. Let's look back at some of that action in round 2, Jimmy.
Now, be prepared for this replay. It's not pretty. This is the punch, bang, that dropped Jingliang right to the jaw. Takes him down, goes for the guillotine, and here's the foul. Right there, guys. God. That is pro wrestling bad. That is awful.
Vision blurry in that eye. Yeah. You've got to keep those hands up and watch him, yeah? You okay? What happened?
He stuck his fingers in the cup. Don't hit that button unless the producer talks to you. Okay, he was talking to you? Okay, sorry.
UFC 221 Romero versus Rockhold is presented by Air Asia. Connect to over 130 destinations across Asia, Australia, and beyond. With the world's best low-cost airline, now everyone can fly. So Mark Simpson appeared to say the next foul like that would be a point deduction.
What, if you put 3 fingers in the eye? I mean, that's an egregious foul. That one was bad.
Come on.
I'm amazed there wasn't a point taken. I would have.
Well, and given what was happening on the other side, I would think maybe...
Especially locked in a submission that looked done. I mean, you could disqualify a guy for that. That guillotine succeeds without that egregious foul.
Right. So we fight on here 30 seconds into this third and final round. Jake Matthews, Li Jingliang.
One thing we have to keep in mind is you and I can sit out here and debate it all day. Matthews has to go in there and just keep fighting and put it behind him. And so far he has.
Yeah.
That's very commendable of him. His dad, coach, asked him, can you see out of the eye? He said, it's a little blurry, you know. He said, keep your hands up. That's always the advice. Keep your hands up. You don't have to see all the punches. You don't have to read everything.
Right. Jingliang had to eat some significant strikes to get back to his feet, but was able to do so. Nice uppercut lands for the Leech on the inside.
And the problem defensively is that earlier in this fight, the first 2 rounds, he's relied a lot on his awareness. He's slipped a lot of punches with his hands down. He relies on his ability to see the punches coming. Well, now he has a swollen eye that's hard to see out of.
Both fighters seemingly in tremendous shape. I mean, the Leech has been all offense. I know he's been on the wrong side of a lot of power shots tonight, but his pace hasn't waned at all.
He has not slowed down at all. Matthews has taken his moments to get his breath back. I liked his offense, I liked his pacing, but you have seen the fatigue. So he's been working hard. Li Jingliang, much more even pace. Always stalking forward, but not as explosive.
Matthews has fought in spurts. 2 minutes have gone by now in this third and final round. Matthews has outstruck Jing Liang 61-45. Finally, a deep breath from Jake Matthews. Perhaps some fatigue starting to settle in on both sides.
Oh, beautiful right hand!
Yet another knockdown for Matthews.
Right on the button. He goes to his grappling. Great recovery by Jing Liang. Unbelievable.
All 3 times he has been borderline knocked down. He has recovered almost immediately and countered with his own offense.
I'm really surprised Matthews went to his grappling attack and didn't try to finish with strikes.
Wild fight here, unofficially 2 knockdowns for Jake Matthews. 2 minutes now to go.
Now, what does it take to floor this guy? Man, he just keeps coming. He gets knocked down, gets right back up. But Jing Liang has iron in his chin. Good movement by Matthews, though. Needs to drive and get up or get a takedown of his own. In double leg position, can he finish? Good defense by Jing Liang. And this fight has been worth the price of admission in terms of what has happened, the drama, the story, the action. This one has had just about everything.
And we get some separation back to the center of the octagon here. 1 minute now to go.
And I think Jing Liang needs a finish. I think he's behind in this fight. It's been close, but Matthews, I think he's done more damage, been dominant in positions. I think he's ahead. If you're Jing Liang, it's knockout or nothing at this point.
Yeah. You saw Matthews with a quick check on the clock. Perhaps he'll try to punctuate this performance with a late takedown. Instead goes to the flying knee. Looked like maybe he got countered too, hard to tell.
And Matthews needs to keep those hands up. Jing Liang's still very, very dangerous with 15 seconds left. Don't think he's not. Very smart move. Talk about fight IQ. Get in close and negate the punching. Low single leg attack. Stay safe.
The Leech fighting like he knows he needs the finish. What a fight! Jake Matthews and Li Jing Liang go the distance tonight in Perth, WA. Well, for my money, as good as Jake Matthews has looked in his 9 UFC fights.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people were talking about his grappling. The striking was the difference in this fight. Look at the first round. Right hand, left hand, bang, and down goes Jing Liang. And in the second round, a beautiful right. I'm telling you, that would have knocked out 9 out of 10 welterweights. Yeah. That was right on the chin, and then the guillotine. Look at this horrible eye gouge. 2 fingers right in the eye. Matthews stayed professional, kept fighting, got another knockdown that I would have said the last 2 that we just saw, the right hand and this flying knee, most welterweights done, finished, end of fight.
A lot of respect for both fighters here tonight. Of course, the Leech trying to extend his winning streak to 5. And how about this Jake Matthews version 2.0?
Young buck at 170, a crowded division, but there's a new kid on the block. He looks great tonight.
He was born in August of 1994. Bruce Buffer now to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 29-28, 30-26, and 30-26 for the winner by unanimous decision, Jake the Celtic Kid Matthews.
Have a night, young man. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews. That fight had it all, man. Congratulations on an epic performance here tonight.
Thanks, John. Perth, what a city! Come on!
So a lot of different ways we can go with this fight. First, I want to start with the knockdowns. You knocked him down 2 or 3 times. Seemed like he was able to take your best shots, shots that would have knocked out most welterweights in this division.
I knew he had a hard head. I knew I had to follow up. He's a very tough opponent. But I put up on Facebook and said, I'm going to let my hands go this fight. So I backed myself into a corner. I did it for the fans, did it for myself. So yeah, it worked out.
Striking obviously looked great here tonight. Now you nearly submitted him with a guillotine, and we're going to show you this replay. He essentially gouged your eye to prevent the submission from ending the fight. So I want your thoughts on this pretty gory replay here.
Yeah, look, honestly, in the heat of the fight, you don't realize that stuff. A couple of times, fingers in the glove, but it is what it is. And in a fight, you do whatever it takes to survive, and sometimes it just comes natural. So there's no hard feelings at all. He's back!
Well, you're all class, and I know your father sort of kept your head in the game there after that round. You've got new life here at 170 pounds, 2-0 since returning to this division. How soon might we see you back inside this octagon?
I've had 2 back-to-back camps, fought in Sydney, now in Perth, about 8 weeks apart. So I'm have a little break, but always love fighting in front of the Aussie fans. So if there's another Aussie card at the end of the year, I'm in.
You lit up this arena here tonight. We know the best is yet to come. One more time, the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews.
Great performance, kept mentally strong, very, very mature. We talked about the grappling, but it was the striking tonight. He showed it all. Great performance by Jake Matthews in front of the hometown crowd.
Jake Matthews not nearly as bothered as the MMA masses must be on social media right now.
We're going to hear about it.
That post-fight interview brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3 available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Jake Matthews with a big win here tonight in his native Australia. All right, straight ahead, we will get our second look at that man, Western Sydney's Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa. Now, many believe he could be Australia's next UFC champion tonight. His order of business to try to move to 9-0 with as many knockouts as he faces France's Cyril Asquer, healthy now and a versatile finisher who will look to spring the road upset here tonight in Perth. Well, the UFC live events keep on coming. We are loaded later this month, February 24th on Fox from Orlando, Florida. This is the main card, highlighted by a featherweight eliminator of sorts between Josh Emmett and Jeremy Stephens. Of course, Emmett earning this fight with a knockout of Ricardo Lamas. Stephens also with some momentum. Main event knockout of Duho Choi in St. Louis last month. Platinum Mike Perry back against Max Griffin, and a big one at 115 pounds between Jessica Andrade and Tisha Torres. Well, I don't have to tell Jimmy Smith. A lot of sights and sounds in Perth and tourism WA. A strong advocate of hosting live events in Western Australia. A significant boost to the economy. Visitors spending time across this great region. And of course, UFC 221 now proud to be a part of that history. UFC 221, Romero versus Rockhold, is presented to you by AirAsia. Connect to over 130 destinations across Asia, Australia, and beyond with the world's best low-cost airline. Now everyone can fly. Man, the fighters have delivered tonight, and we're going to get right back to it in the UFC's heavyweight division. Australia's own Tai Tuivasa being touted in these parts as the next big heavyweight superstar, but to continue to fulfill that potential, first he has to get by the veteran, Cyril Asquer. When heavyweights collide, the odds of an early ending are always strong. But when Tai Tuivasa and Cyril Asquer are involved, those odds skyrocket. For neither of these big men have let the judges get involved in any of their UFC bouts thus far.
I'm not trigger shy, so if I see an opportunity, of course I'm going to take it. And when I take it, the fights don't really keep going.
I'm very happy to fight Tai in Australia because I know we are both finishers, and this fight not go to the end.
French finisher Cyril Asquer has given the fans the fights they want to see since his UFC debut in 2016. And in 2017, he took his game to a new level as he knocked out Dmitry Smoliakov and submitted Hu Yaozong. putting him in good stead as he prepares to battle Tai Tuivasa.
I'm ready to fight any guy in this division. But I take fight by fight, one by one, and I'm really happy to take Tai Tuivasa this time at Australia.
Despite the pressure of making his UFC debut at home, Western Sydney's Tai Tuivasa made sure it was business as usual against Rashad Coulter in November, as he picked up Performance of the Night honors for a flying knee knockout that kept his perfect record intact with 8 wins and as many first-round knockouts.
Last fight was massive. A year off, got the cobwebs out of the way, finished the fight Bam Bam style, and hope to bring more this fight for sure.
The affable Frenchman Cyril Asker comes in tonight off the win over Hu Yaozong, which was the first time he had seen a second round in the UFC, and he's dealt with some injuries. Asker healthy and ready to put on a show tonight as the road underdog against Tuivasa.
Now, one thing you got to keep in mind, MMA's still illegal in France. He's always the road warrior. He's always going into somebody's backyard. Because I'm always getting booed. I am so used to that kind of pressure from the crowd that I don't even hear it anymore. He said, very nice guys. We're dealing with some back issues. I got him straightened out. He said, this camp, I was pain-free. That's huge.
We'll see if he can parlay that pain-free into the desired result tonight. This fighter description brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV. So we mentioned Asker has won 2 of 3, 6 of his last 8 overall. Nice mix of knockouts and submissions as well. And he has been a fast starter, 6 first-round finishes in his 9 professional wins.
Yeah, and has confidence in his grappling, in his takedown, in his top control. I think he's going to need that tonight. Tuivasa, very heavy-handed.
Asker has been one of the top European heavyweights for some time. Former police officer. Most of his pro fights took place in South Africa. And he is facing a southpaw yet again tonight in Tai Tuivasa. So here is the undefeated upstart Tai Tuivasa out of New South Wales. Second UFC appearance here tonight, and his debut back in November. Jimmy certainly garnered a few headlines.
To a lightweight, flying knee, not a big deal. To the heavyweights, that is huge. Only the second flying knee finish in UFC heavyweight history. Look at here, if you question his athleticism, bang. Look at the hops on that shot. He said, I hadn't really done that in the gym. I just thought his head might be in that direction. I decided to go for it. That youthful exuberance, that enthusiasm, that I can do anything kind of attitude, that's what he brings into the octagon with real athleticism. Don't let that jiggle fool you. He's an explosive, strong guy.
And the book on Tuivasa as well is that he's better on fight night than he is in the gym. That this is a guy who has a penchant for rising to the occasion when the lights are the brightest.
There's an expression we use, gym monsters. The guys, man, they drop everybody in the gym. They get in the ring, or they get in the octagon, and they don't do well. And there's the opposite. Those guys in the gym, they look all right. When the lights are on, they really, really perform. He's a gamer. He's certainly that kind of guy. What I love about his octagon debut is he had no reason to believe he'd be great. Hadn't fought anyone of note, hadn't fought any UFC veterans, and came in with a ton of confidence. He said, oh yeah, it felt like I belong here right away.
And it was actually a knockdown courtesy of a leg kick that led to the flying knee knockout. So pretty good stuff out of Tuivasa, 100% knockout rate, 8 wins by knockout or TKO. All of them in round 1, 4 of them in 44 seconds or fewer. So Tuivasa, more often than not, double parked outside, short night at the office. We'll see how it goes for him tonight against the UFC-tested Frenchman, Cyril Asker. Tuivasa won a couple titles, became the #1 ranked heavyweight outside the UFC in this region, Australia and New Zealand tonight, trying to register the biggest win of his professional career. All right, just about ready to go with this heavyweight feature bout. Tai Tuivasa still just 24, Cyril Asker is 32. Tuivasa, the taller man by 2 inches. He weighed in 263.5 pounds, 243.5 for Cyril Asker. All right, now back inside to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 9 wins, 3 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 243.5 pounds. Fighting out of Avignon, France, Cyril Silverback Asker. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a street fighter holding an undefeated professional record, 8 wins, no losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 263.5 pounds. Fighting out of West Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, Ty Bam Bam Tuivasa. Begins, our referee in charge, Steve Percival.
Steve Percival, our referee. Tonight's Vegas odds brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV, and largely no surprise, Tuivasa, the big favorite here tonight, minus 270. The comeback on the underdog, Cyril Asker, is at plus 210. With that touch of gloves, we are underway. Cyril Asker is in gray, Ty Tuivasa in black.
Cyril Asker had a great word for this division. He said it's cruel. It's a cruel division. Got to claw your way to the top. It is brutal. He knows that.
Asker dropped down, partially landed a right hand. Tuivasa counters effectively.
Just as we suspected, no real feeling out process. A lot of lead right hands. Tuivasa trying to get it done early.
Tuivasa took his first fight at 17 years old, now 24. Lists his favorite grappling technique as the get-up, so he doesn't like spending a lot of time on the ground. Also went 5-2 with 3 knockouts as a pro boxer, did Tuivasa.
Asker has to be smart. Good job with the lead hook. He needs to. Oh man, another good shot. He's hurt. He's hurt bad.
Elbow and a big left hand.
This is about to be over if he doesn't change this. Tuivasa all over him.
And now Tuivasa rips the body. Let's see the extent to which Asker has recovered.
Patient.
Lead elbow. Man,
Asker can't believe he's still on his feet. Taking monstrous shots, but he needs to answer back, or this fight's about to be over.
Tuivasa pouring it on now. Referee Steve Percival watching the action here closely.
He is still on his feet, but he is not in this fight. Make no mistake. All he's doing is shelling up. He's throwing some stuff back, but nothing behind it. Can't believe he's taking these shots because they are brutal.
Tuivasa lands again with that left hand, splitting the guard. Now another big elbow.
If Asker has a takedown in his arsenal, now is the time.
And it was that previous elbow that cut him open. Stop the fight. Ty Tuivasa. Are you kidding me?
Destruction. All of those shots. And I wasn't able to count them up, but they got to be in the 20s. All of them were knockout shots. There wasn't one feeling out shot against the fence. Asker took everything he could, but in the end, face down, it is all over. Tuivasa, another spectacular win. Great knockout.
And I don't want to give the crowd too much credit, but you think these Australian fighters have been buoyed by this atmosphere at all tonight?
Every time you hit a guy, and the whole crowd goes, oh, you know, I got to do that again. I want that reaction.
It is going to be a long trip home for Cyril Asker. And Ty Tuivasa said he couldn't wait to grab an adult beverage after this one. And he won't have to wait too much longer. Tuivasa improving to 9-0 with as many first-round knockouts. We're going to take a look back.
I cannot believe Cyril Asker stayed on his feet after these shots. Not just the punches, but brutal elbows over the top to the temple. That would level 9 out of 10 heavyweights. Tuivasa putting everything behind every punch. But also what I like is he fought in spurts. He would unload, back off, land some body shots, and go back to him. A very mature approach to his offense, but great finishing instincts. The final shot was really a push. It's just the fact that his legs were gone. Excellent stoppage by the referee.
And Asker went face first to the canvas. Steve Percival had seen enough. I have not seen enough of Tai Tuivasa. 2-0 out of the chute to begin his UFC run. And now to make it official, we turn it over to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Percival has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 18 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by TKO, Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa.
Bam Bam is here, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner, Tai Tuivasa. What does it feel like to make this walk, come in here and put on a show like that in front of these adoring fans?
Western Australia, it's me again.
So this fight could have been stopped really at any time. It seemed like all of your heavy shots were landing, one elbow after the next. Overall thoughts on your performance here tonight, sir?
But you don't know what Bam is gonna do. Told you.
I know you like to make it a short night at the office. Was that your expectation tonight, that you'd be able to get Cyril out of there relatively quickly?
We're straight to the after party, baby. Eve nightclub. I just wanna thank Australia, you know. Get behind us, because we're taking over. We all us fellas who fought tonight, most of us are one. We're taking over. Air Asia, this plane's about to head off, baby. You know what we're up to.
Final thought, 9 wins, all of them first-round knockouts. Any name on the tip of your tongue as to who you'd like to fight next?
Well, I just want to fight, keep getting paid, baby.
And we just want to watch.
SAFTA.
Enjoy it. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa.
Great stuff by the heavyweight Tai Tuivasa. Not just the athleticism, not just the power, but the attitude. It's infectious. He loves to fight. He loves to party, but to do one, you got to do the other. Now he's going to the after party courtesy of another first-round knockout. Can't help but love this kid.
You get that post-fight party invite, Jimmy Smith, or what?
I'm going. I'm going to be there. You bet.
So Tai Tuivasa lighting him up here in Perth. There is the former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman alongside the Muay Thai legend John Wayne Parr, Alistair Overeem. Octagon side here tonight in Perth, Western Australia. All right, what's coming up? It is the co-main event between Mark Hunt and Curtis Razor Blades, brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3, available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Well, as usual, you do not have to wait long for our next live UFC event. It'll be next Sunday, February 18th, and Austin, Texas is getting a good one. By TKO!
I'm gonna get to the top no matter how long it takes. Finishing Cowboy is something I'm looking to do in an octagon.
Yancey, I'm sorry I'm at the hand of you. You're lost. I'm getting the old ass-whooping Cowboy. I'm coming hard, I'm coming fast, I'm coming to beat that ass.
It is all over! Donald Cerrone!
A lot of fighters say, I'll fight anybody, anywhere, just give me a name and a time and a date and I'll show up and beat him. Cowboy Cerrone means it. No one fights as much as he does. No one fights the names he has.
Donald's just mixing things up beautifully. Cowboy Cerrone! That's a fired-up cowboy right there!
When we talk about MMA in 20 years, people go, man, who was fun to watch? Cowboy Cerrone was fun to watch.
Donald Cowboy Cerrone!
He's lost his last 3 fights. As dangerous as Cowboy Cerrone normally is, he is a wounded, cornered animal. He has no choice but to fight his way back to relevance in a crowded division.
I will go hard. and I'll fight tooth and nail to the end of this fight.
Donald Cerrone is a great competitor. He's a big stable in UFC, and I'm glad that UFC's giving me this chance to showcase my skills.
I know I've been in those deep waters. I know I've taken guys in deep water. He has not yet been there. I have more bonuses than he has fights.
When I'm in that octagon, these hands mean business. I'm a threat to everyone that steps in there, and I'm gonna get everyone's respect.
If you want to know about Yancy Medeiros, watch the fight against Cowboy Oliveira. This is a guy who can take a beating and still know I can win this fight. That's the confidence of his 3-fight win streak.
I don't hit with my heart, I hit with my soul, and I ain't gonna quit. Let's do this, I'm gonna buckle down and start swinging.
It's awesome he took the fight. Texas is gonna be unreal. I'm coming, and I'm coming to do what I do and knock out. Don't blink.
Alongside Jimmy Smith, John Anik here, Octagon side in Perth. We're going to get to Yancy Medeiros and Donald Cowboy Cerrone, but Tai Tuivasa just had a fan pour a beer into a sneaker and chugged the whole thing on his way back to the locker room.
Like one sip.
Yeah.
He basically downed the entire thing in one shot. You want to make fans in Perth, Australia? This is exactly how you do it. You chug a beer out of a shoe.
So Tai Tuivasa is on the map. Not just because of what he did inside the octagon, but a nice way to cap the victory here tonight. All right, so Yancy Medeiros, part of the consensus fight of the year against Alex Cowboy Oliveira. That was early December, I guess, last year. Now he draws a higher profile Cowboy in Austin next Sunday.
Throwback Hawaiian-style fight. Meet me in the center. Let's go. I'm not backing up. You're not backing up. We'll see who comes out victorious, and it's a battle for Cowboy. 3 losses in a row. Medeiros, 3 wins in a row. It's a crossroads kind of fight.
Yeah.
Who's going to make their statement? Hey, if you're Medeiros, it's, hey, I want to be up amongst the contenders. I want to be among the elite at 170. Cowboy Cerrone needs to get back on track. And so both guys so motivated in this fight. Both guys not only aggressive, but Medeiros, a little bit of a counterpuncher. He'll take one to give one. Cowboy Cerrone, incredibly technical. He'll throw a lot of kicks and mix up his combinations. Both guys have a lot of skills. They'll be on display next week, and I'll be right there calling it.
I know you will be there, and here is how that main card for the FS1 UFC Fight Night stacks up. It is next Sunday night. Make a note, 9 p.m. Eastern for the main card. Cerrone and Medeiros also featured. Houston's finest, the Black Beast Derek Lewis, taking on fellow heavyweight contender Marcin Tybura. James Vick and Francisco Trinaldo, that's a big fight at 155 pounds. Thiago Alves is back. Hopefully he can fight this time. Jessica Aguilar on the fight card as well. We are loaded in 8 days from Austin, Texas. All right, now this from General Tire. I mean, it's so pretty it looks fake at times. Elizabeth Key here in Perth. UFC had been to the land down under 11 times prior, but until tonight, never to Western Australia. A lot of MMA fans in this region, they have trekked across their country to see the UFC tonight. They don't have to go very far because UFC 221 is coming to them. And the co-main event coming up in a moment. These heavyweight rankings 5 through 10 brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3 available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And don't look now, but next week Curtis Blades could find himself in the top 5.
Now, he certainly could. I mean, that's what you have to remember is there's more than a win and a loss on the line tonight. It's top 5. It's contender status. Stefan Struve, Andre Arlovski fighting soon. A lot of shakeup in this top 10. The winner here, especially with a dominant performance, a big knockout, a great finish. You bring the crowd to their feet. You're in that short contender list, and that's on the mind of both fighters tonight.
And, of course, Volkov and Verdum coming up March 17th in a main event in London. Well, the legend of Mark Hunt has continued to grow over the years, especially here in Australia, where the Super Samoan will look to deliver his fans another spectacular knockout when he meets Curtis Blades.
I'm one of the best fighters in the world. I do think I'm the best fighter in the world. You know, still going. I still feel like I got a lot more to write in the books of history of fighting, and still being able to do what I do and what I love to do. That's what's really important to me.
This guy is a legend in the sport.
One of the greatest strikers in the history of the heavyweight division.
Mark Hunt gives the same problem to every opponent. They all worry about the power, the dynamite that guy has in both hands.
Oh, big right hand from Hunt!
He has no fear, always steps forward, iron in his chin. He dares you to throw harder than he does.
I can knock out anyone in the universe.
Oh, goes Strube!
Oh, there it is again. That's it.
This man defies nature.
His opponent, Curtis Blades, came from a wrestling background, junior college national champion. Great takedown.
Man, look how strong this guy is.
Wow.
He is ragdolling Adam Milstead right now.
Great ground and pound, physically very aggressive.
Those elbows are tearing him apart.
Doesn't have a problem standing toe-to-toe, trading punches. He likes mixing it up in the fight.
I think me and my best clicking on all 10 cylinders, I can hang with anyone.
We might just be looking at a future UFC heavyweight champion.
I want to get that belt. I want to retain it for as long as I can. I just want my name to be remembered.
He's one of the younger lions coming up. He's number 9 for a reason. I'll have to welcome him to the top end, you know, to break into the top 5. He's got to get through me. I don't think he's going to do it.
Trying to finish it here.
It's over. Mark,
the Super Samoan.
I think he's a legend. He's a pioneer for combat sports. He's a big, mean, scary dude, but I'm not scared. I may not be Mark Hunt, but I've got heavy hands too.
Oh, Curtis cracked him.
When a guy is starting to break, I just turn it on. I can smell blood. I know when it's time to finish.
Curtis Blades by TKO.
What I do know is he's going to get knocked out. The game plan is to go and smash him in the face.
That's it. The Super Samoan wins.
I'm always confident about my abilities, and I'm going to beat him. I can't see myself losing this fight.
Do not mistake his kindness for weakness. Here is the number 9 ranked heavyweight contender, Curtis Razor Blades. And after a win over Alexei Oleinik last November, he has set himself up for the highest profile fight of his career.
And think about that win against Alexei Oleinik, a guy known for his ground game. He took him down with no hesitation. Wasn't scared of the submission. He went after it. He needs a similar kind of attitude tonight. He can't freeze. He can't wait. He can't be scared. He has to fight confident tonight, but watch out for the heavy hands of Mark Hunt.
Tonight's Prep Point is brought to you by AirAsia. Connect to over 130 destinations across Asia, Australia, and beyond with the world's best low-cost airline. Now everyone can fly. So in terms of the approach to this one, we have certainly seen significant gains from Blades on the feet. Very potent kicking game, but he wants to take Mark Hunt down.
What's the expression? There's nothing worse than a little knowledge. You want to learn the striking game. You don't want to test it out against Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
What he's great at is the takedown. He needs to go with that and that athletic double leg. Very, very rare for a heavyweight. You see that, you know, Jordan Burroughs, guys at lighter weight classes, they'll get that blast double leg. Very rare for a heavyweight. He can explode and take you down in one shot. That's important. He's going to need that.
Curtis Blades will be 27 in a week, so here's a young man fighting out of Chicago, Illinois. A lot of amateur combat sports experience back in 2012. He was a JUCO heavyweight national wrestling champ at Harper College. And tonight, in UFC appearance number 6, he will try to take out a legend on the road. Well, enjoy him while he's here, ladies and gentlemen, but if you talk to Mark Hunt, he says the end is nowhere near in sight. He has been competing in combat for 28 years, and now about a month shy of birthday number 44, as he greets his sons there, Noah and Caleb. Mark Hunt making his 16th UFC appearance tonight.
He says, I'm getting better as I get older. I feel more comfortable. It's the attitude combined with the performance. This is a guy who will sleep other heavyweights face down with either hand and act like he just finished his shift at Denny's. Like he walks, like clocking out, walks off, and like it's not that big a deal. Like, this is what I do for a living. That's what's so great about it.
Now, he has been a little bit enigmatic, at least according to his coaches. He is in tremendous shape here tonight, but just because he's had a great training camp, that hasn't always dovetailed with a great result on fight night.
You know what I look for with a guy who's been fighting as long as he has? I look for that almost blasé kind of attitude, like, oh, it's just another fight, not getting excited about any particular fight. You've been fighting so much. He said it's still about survival for me. I still have those instincts, those base instincts that if I don't win, that guy's gonna kill me. I still think that way. That makes him dangerous.
Tonight's Vegas odds are brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV. Curtis Blades, the favorite at -165. Mark Hunt, the +135 underdog here tonight. Largely, I would think, because of the age discrepancy. You're talking about a 26-year-old versus a 43-year-old Mark Hunt. All right, let's get to the tail of the tape for this. Our co-main event of the evening. Mark Hunt will be 44 on March 23rd. Curtis Blades will be 27 in a week. Blades, the taller man by 6 inches. 265 pounds on the nose for Hunt, 255, and a hook for Blades, who will have a decided 8-inch reach advantage over the Super Samoan. All right, now for the introductions. Back inside to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. Sponsored by Fletch TV, an official broadcasting partner of UFC. Get all your entertainment in one place with Fletch. And now, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record. 8 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 255 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, USA, presenting the #9 ranked heavyweight contender in the world, Curtis Razor Blades. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a striker, holding a professional record, 13 wins, 11 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 265 pounds. Fighting out of Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, by way of South Auckland, New Zealand, presenting the #5 ranked heavyweight contender in the world, Mark Super Samoan Hunt! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, John Sharp.
John Sharp, our referee for this one. Mark Hunt talked a lot here during Fight Week, Jimmy, about maximizing the moment and the rush that you get from competing in combat sports, you cannot get anywhere else. And even though he still considers himself elite and one of the best fighters, if not the best fighter in the world, he's still going because he can't get this feeling anywhere else.
And also you start realizing you've had the years he's had. I don't know how many more I'm going to get. So they become more rare, they become more special at the end.
17 years ago, Mark Hunt won the K1 World Grand Prix Championship. Pride made him an offer, he took it. And he's got some momentum coming in tonight, a win over Derek Lewis last June.
Still remember that butt drop against Vanderlei Silva. Talking about using the heavyweight frame, he did it well.
And Curtis Blades on the other side, unbeaten dating to his UFC debut against Francis Ngannou. He was favored to beat Francis Ngannou when they met back in 2016.
The fact that he stood toe-to-toe with Ngannou, doctor had to come in and stop the fight. Right. Swelling around his eyes, no quit in him, even against a knockout puncher. It's important to remember tonight. And also, Mark Hunt, remember, since 2010, his losses are Junior Dos Santos, Verdum, Stipe, and Alistair Overeem. He doesn't take on a lesser opponent and think, oh, I got this.
Right.
He doesn't. He brings it every time. He never overlooks anyone. There's never been that surprise upset because he wasn't ready.
Yeah. And Curtis Blades has gotten progressively leaner and stronger since aligning with Team Elevation in Colorado, training with the likes of Cody Donovan, Dwayne Ludwig, his teammate Austin Hubbard in his corner tonight.
He people I'm talking about with the main event tonight, Yoel Romero, how he's so relaxed, it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security. Mark Hunt has a lot of similar style.
Yep, good point.
Not necessarily as physically explosive, but he's not like got this, throwing jabs, and then bang, you get hit with the power shot.
So about 2 minutes in, Hunt has yet to land a strike and Blades has yet to shoot. See how soon that changes.
There's the takedown attempt. Way far out and still got it. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a good sign for Curtis Blades.
Good scramble.
Back up. Hunto right back to his feet. About 2 minutes gone by round one.
One thing about Hunt's frame, it's hard to keep him down. He springs back to his feet very easily. Big legs. Great center of gravity. Just pops back up to his feet. See Hunt very low with the lead hand, trying to bait him in. Oh, great shot! That hurt him. He's wobbly.
Oh, Hunt with an overhand right.
He's taking his.
Oh, Blades goes down. Right back up. We'll see if Hunt can bide his time here. Oh, useful, a huge takedown for Curtis Blades.
That's exactly what Blades needed because he was hurt. He is still hurt. Those were knockout shots. Blades right now trying to clear the cobwebs. Almost in full mount. Not quite high enough. But he is trying to get mentally back into this fight.
Blades looks to be bleeding pretty significantly.
Now is Mark Hunt going to take some risks to get back to his feet? That's the question. Trying to take the back. Fence is in the way.
Another fairly high amplitude takedown there for Curtis Blades, his third of the round.
You certainly see the strength with his takedown, with his throws. But man, he ate some shots.
So Blades 3 of 4 in the takedown department through 4 minutes of this fight.
Right now, Blades' goal is just to see the end of the round. Stay on top, don't take any more damage, live to fight the next round. If he tries to rush it and Mark Hunt is able to get back to his feet, he can't take many more of those punches. Curtis Blades not making much of an effort to pass half guard. See, half guard's wide open. But he is doing the smart thing, staying here, not really trying to advance.
Blades staying heavy and staying offensive enough to prevent the thought of any stand-up from the referee, John Sharp.
Exactly. If you think he is with it, if you think he is recovered, you are wrong. He can still fight. That doesn't mean he's recovered. A lot of people mistake the two.
Right. And now he has mounted Mark Hunt, who relinquishes the back here.
Has the hooks in, but I don't think there's enough time unless his arms are already under the neck, which it is not. We'll see round two.
Both guys had their moments in round one. We will take a look back at some of the action, Jimmy.
Both fighters showed what they had. Mark Hunt has power in his punches. Look at that right hand. The legs just go out. Blades has no balance, and then here, another right hand drops him. Looked like it might be the beginning of the end. Some great punches, but here's the takedown that saved him. Nice level change. Right underneath with the double leg, able to stay on top. And when Mark Hunt was able to get back to his feet, here's another throw. A little bit of an outside trip there. Man, Curtis Blades able to hang on.
Doesn't want to be on his back.
What can he get back?
Touch him.
The start of round two, and how much did Mark Hunt expend his energy?
Let's go, let's go. Let's get back to speed, Curtis. Back to speed. Let's go. Let's go.
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyright work is illegal and punishable under law. So you heard that collective gasp from the audience after Mark Hunt got taken down after seemingly nearly knocking Curtis Blades out in round one. Round two here and now. So I guess we'll find out the extent to which Blades has recovered. He shoots less than 5 seconds in.
I am not surprised. Instant takedown. He's felt the power. He respects it now. He's not going to play on the outside and throw any jabs. This is a wrestling match from here on out as far as he's concerned, if he's smart.
Nice dexterity there from Mark Hunt to stay upright.
Double unders, good job circling out.
Back to the center of the octagon now, Jimmy.
And that's what you want to do. You want to get Curtis Blades to expend a lot of energy trying to get takedowns that don't work. It's very exhausting going for those takedowns, end up back in the center, have to box again.
Right.
You're going from static motion to dynamic motion. It's hard on the body.
7 of Blades' 8 wins have come by knockout. But he draws a certifiable knockout artist tonight in Mark Hunt. 6 minutes into this one.
Gotta stay off the fence. As soon as his back is close to the fence, expect Blades to push him there. Try and get in a clinch position. If you're Mark Hunt, you want the center of that octagon.
Haven't seen much of Blades' kicking game thus far.
You know, Mark Hunt doesn't check a lot of kicks, but his legs are gigantic.
Yeah.
And his counter is just throw the right hand over the top with a left hook. Yeah, I'll eat that kick.
Yeah.
In order to get my fist on your chin. Blades knows that.
Hunt built like a backyard shed, and largely throughout his career, his chin is held up.
How big is your backyard?
I think the shed is smaller than mine.
Look at the patience of Mark Hunt. Not trying to rush anything. As soon as you're in my range, I'm going to throw, buddy. This guy's a fighter not necessarily known for his footwork. Tends to plant and throw.
Excuse me, Jimmy, don't miss a complete recap of all the action in Perth on our UFC 221 post-fight show immediately following the main event on FS1, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. We have crossed the midpoint of this second round. Nice jab from Blades. Beautiful job by Hunt, at least temporarily, to shuck Blades off, but now he regains a dominant position.
Couldn't spring back to his feet with that. And the problem we're seeing when they're on the feet is Hunt doesn't have much of a long-range game in terms of his kicks. He doesn't throw a lot of jabs. He has to kind of wait for his opponent to get in range so he can punch him. And Blades smartly in round 2, staying out of that range. Remember, he's a taller guy, has the reach advantage. He's being smart and staying outside. I don't think the crowd feels about this. It's not what they want.
Yeah, not loving seeing their guy working off of his back here. Less than 2 minutes now to go in the round. And for Curtis Blades, you're content to just work out of this position.
Exactly. Short strikes, maybe a few elbows. Advance the dominant position. One thing Hunt does is in a half guard position, pretty much opens his legs. It would be easy to pass the side control, but Blades not really trying to do it. Content to stay on top.
Well, Blades felt like he'd be able to take Mark Hunt down with relative ease. 4 of 7 thus far on his takedown attempts. Blades taking a little bit of a breather here. John Sharp watching the action closely.
Thing is on top, Blades has done just enough to keep the fight on the ground. Nice elbow over the top there.
And that one did open up a cut on the forehead of Mark Hunt. Under a minute now to go in this second round.
That defensive half guard, a lot of people call it Z-guard, that shin across the waist. All it does is push your opponent back and you can't keep it. Problem is, Mark Hunt might be in a position where he needs to really get busy in round 3. Good stuff by Blades. Mark Hunt getting that underhook, but can't get back to his feet. Blades keeping that physical pressure on him. And think about the energy this is taking out of Mark Hunt. Great round 1, he threw a ton of punches. A lot of them are power shots. It costs a lot of gas.
So a productive 2 minutes there as Blades keeps Hunt on the ground for the final portions of that second round.
Brother, yeah. Last round's coming up, cuz. Last round's coming up. We have to stay off the ground and you have to start applying a pressure on him, yeah? You have to start moving forward, start applying pressure on him. If you get to the ground, try and get to the cage, bro. Yep.
Okay, Mark, with your hands, you throw a fast jab to set up, but you've got to bridge straight away after it. So like a set up and go, cool? Now if you feel he's going to throw first, you've got to intercept, yeah? You're going to have to go after him, Mark, so you're going to have to throw the jab and then second phase straight away, bro. Because you think you're just throwing single setups, yeah? So go set up, and then bridge your back foot like you always do, bro. Yeah?
One round each, bro. It's one round each. You gotta take this. You gotta take this round. You gotta take this round, bro. Let's go. Yep.
Jimmy, any thoughts on the messaging there in Mark Hunt's corner?
They're giving him a tough path to walk. I want physical pressure, but they don't want him to walk into the takedown of Blades. That's hard to do.
He's got to figure out a way, though, offensively to get inside what is an 8-inch reach discrepancy. 80 inches for Blades, 72 for Super Samoan Mark Hunt. Immediate shot from Blades, and it's good.
No surprise at all.
Oh!
That's a powerful takedown. Great slam. Blades showing that strength. Now going for full mount. He's got it. And Mark Hunt very, very tired. This is exactly where he didn't want to be. Mounted early. Trying to get back to the fence, but a walk-up is hard when you're mounted.
So a discouraging start to this third and final round for Mark Hunt. 6 takedowns for Curtis Blades on 9 attempts, his personal best 8 in the UFC. But for Mark Hunt, I would imagine at times the body won't necessarily do here what the mind would like it to.
Exactly. And all that power and effort he put into round 1, this is where you pay for it.
And you gotta credit Curtis Blades and his ability to recover early, to bite down on the mouthpiece and get the fight back into his wheelhouse and his comfort zone.
And his maturity, his ability to fight smart when he needed to.
Well, John Sharp's not going to be fazed by this crowd if Blades stays busy enough. He's not going to bail Mark Hunt out.
Yep, trying to isolate a key lock. Americana, you can call it too, on the right arm. Hunt is out.
Blades' next submission win would be his first. Let's listen into the corner of Curtis Blades, Cody Donovan, Vinny Lopez, and Austin Hubbard.
And find that elbow. Push on his head. Find that elbow. Yep.
There you go. Now bring that right elbow over the top.
And bam.
Right over the top.
Yes. Again. Right on his mouth. Take away his right leg. Right leg.
Nice job by the UFC veteran Cody Donovan there in the corner.
Excellent job. They're encouraging those slicing elbows, those short-range weapons. Wearing Mark Hunt down. That's the key to this position. Think about carrying your weight as big as Mark Hunt is and the weight of another heavyweight.
Yeah. A lot of people felt like this was a good challenge, the right type of challenge and test for Curtis Blades at this stage of his career, and has largely handled it quite well tonight. As Hunt gets back to his feet, not for long.
Tenacious with the takedown, will not let him off the hook.
Can just hear the air come out of the building as Curtis Blades gets his 7th takedown on 10 attempts.
The times he's been able to get back to his feet, he hasn't been able to get away. It's been what they call a mat return every single time. Nice wrist control. And that seatbelt grip across the back, grabbing the wrist right there. That's what kept him from getting out. Great stuff by Curtis Blades.
You can hear the grueling nature of this ground fight. As we hit the 90-second mark in this third and final round, Curtis Blades now has tied his personal best in the UFC with 8 takedowns. Not much Hunt can do now.
And unless he got a 10-8 round in round 1, this last round, if Curtis Blades can stay on top, he can ice it. You even call this one a 10-8 if Mark Hunt doesn't do something to get back in it.
So maybe a window of opportunity here for the legend Mark Hunt. But Blades puts him right back where he wants him, 9 for 12.
Doesn't have the snap on the punches in round 3.
So a deflated Mark Hunt here, checking the clock. Curtis Blades has been up for the challenge tonight. The much younger man, one of the biggest age discrepancies in this fight in UFC history. And Blades continues to strike and pressure the fan favorite Mark Hunt. And make it 10.
Great game plan by Curtis Blades. He did what he was good at. Good finish in the mount. Very, very strong performance from Curtis Blades after a rough first round.
Some valuable experience gained by Curtis Blades, and likely the biggest win of his UFC career tonight. Mark Hunt with an early knockdown, but it was Curtis Blades the rest of the way.
In round one, it looked like this might be another Mark Hunt finish. Look at this right hand over the top, bang, right on the jaw. Mark Hunt all over him, landing power punches. Again, against the fence, another beautiful right hand, but after that, it was all about the takedown of Curtis Blades. It saved him in round one, and then it became his strategy, round 2 and 3, takedown, mat returns, slams, over and over and over again. Mark Hunt never back in the fight on the feet after that first round.
That's exactly what we wanted to do. We let that.
So Mark Hunt, a little bit dejected on the scale. So much fan support in these parts and really beyond. But Curtis Blades proving to be too much tonight.
Keep going with me. Keep going.
Well, Curtis Blades was all class and very respectful to Mark Hunt this week, but hard to blame him for that exhale there. Those boos did not faze Curtis Razor Blades here tonight, and he came in number 9 in the world, future very bright for the Chicago native Curtis Blades.
Yeah, he fought very, very smart, didn't let the crowd or any outside distraction get to him. Stayed mentally very focused.
And you know Curtis Blades wants that Francis Ngannou rematch at some point down the line. But he certainly took care of business tonight in the co-main event. We'll see if the judges saw it that way as well. Mark Hunt greeted with cheers as he gets back to his feet. Now to Bruce Buffer, who has the scorecards and the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 30-26, 30-26, and 29-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Curtis Razor Blades.
So the winning ways continue for the heavyweight contender, Curtis Razor Blades. Congratulations. I know you've got a lot of respect for Mark Hunt. Your thoughts on the fight?
Hey, he came out like he knew he was. Swinging for the fences. They're gonna knock me out. He caught me early. I learned my lesson. Went back to my takedowns. Ground and pound.
You landed a personal best 10 takedowns in the fight. How hurt were you early, and when did you feel like you had fully recovered?
I was hurt for about 20 seconds. I recovered when I got that next takedown.
I'd imagine this is a big fight for you, not just the win, but the experience of dealing with that adversity and coming back and dominating the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, I know Australia's gonna root for their hero. No offense, but I came to win, and I did what I wanted to do.
You certainly did that. You're likely gonna be in the top 5 when the rankings come out next week. Any idea who you'd like to see next inside the octagon?
Don't care, but I want to be in Chicago. Let's go, put me in Chicago. I want this feeling, I want this.
You have certainly earned it. Safe trip home. Ladies and gentlemen, your co-main event winner, he is Curtis Razor Blades.
Big moves aren't easy to pull off when you have a heavyweight Mark Hunt size. Look at this slam. The physical dominance, the strength of Curtis Blades on display tonight. Great performance after round 1.
Still to come from Perth, the UFC interim middleweight championship between Yoel Romero and Rockhold. What's coming up is brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3 available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Across the sky, my name is Thunder.
Enter Chris Cyborg.
Oh, Cyborg is a destroyer, but she is taking on the Invicta Bantamweight champion. This fight is fantastic.
Former lightweight champion Frankie Edgar. Two of the top 3 ranked guys in the world going at it.
These two young men fight to knock you out and take your head off.
So many great matchups.
Can't wait.
Well, nod to Dana White, Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard for putting together a hell of a lineup after the injury to Max Holloway. Women's featherweight champ Chris Cyborg putting her 20-fight unbeaten streak on the line and her belt as she makes the quick turn at UFC 222 against Yana Kunitskaya. Brian Ortega stepping in to face Frankie Edgar. Sean O'Malley's back against New Englander Andre Sukumtat. Heavyweights Andrei Arlovsky and Stefan Struve. But the main event, March 3rd in Vegas, Chris Cyborg, Yana Kunitskaya.
Cyborg has been an absolute force of nature in the UFC. Great performance last time out against Holly Holm. It's her right hand, her aggression. She is devastating on the feet. No one has figured out how to solve the riddle of Chris Cyborg in the octagon. Kunitskaya has to stick and move, be technical but strong. She has to have the perfect fight in order to take the belt away from Chris Cyborg. An outstanding fighter in Invicta. She's incredibly well-rounded. I like her reach, I like her height, I like her physical ability. She needs to do everything technically perfect on that night. Huge opportunity for her.
So that is the main event. Co-main event is in the UFC's featherweight division. Here's the pecking order right now at 145 pounds. After that injury to the champ Holloway, Frankie Edgar really wanted to stay on this fight card. Brian Ortega making that a reality for him, and what a matchup we have got in store.
Now, Frankie Edgar, they call him the answer, should be the question. I mean, he's so hard to figure out. He has an endless gas tank, always keeps moving. Great striker, great on the ground, outstanding submission game. His physical pressure never ends, and he has outstanding finishing instincts. I think his striking has actually gotten better as his UFC career has progressed, and he knows he needs a dominant performance against this man, Brian Ortega, to get that title shot he wants so badly. But Ortega, undefeated, 13-0, outstanding submission game, especially the guillotine. That is perfect for a wrestler like Frankie Edgar. We saw it on display against Cub Swanson. Look at it here. Incredible power. He can finish you from anywhere. Like you said, dynamic, outstanding fight. It's going to be great.
And the winner in all likelihood will face Max Holloway. That's on the main card. Here are your prelims you can see on FS1. Mackenzie Dern making her much anticipated UFC debut. A quick turn for the King Bobby Green against Beneil Dariush, and John Dodson and Pedro Munoz after their co-main event a week ago went away with Munoz missing weight. That fight will be remade coming up on March 3rd. And now live from the Perth Arena in Perth, Western Australia, it is time for the main event for UFC 221, Romero versus Rockhold, presented by AirAsia. Connect to over 130 destinations across Asia, Australia, and beyond with the world's best low-cost airline. Now everyone can fly. These top 5 middleweight rankings brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3 available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They are all chasing Robert Whittaker, and at least for Luke Rockhold, a win tonight will set up that fight that he was supposed to have here.
A monstrous division, 185. Look at the talent in the top 5. Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero. What's so great about them isn't just their physical talent, isn't just their abilities, it's their finishing instincts. They are incredible in a division full of talent. These guys, when they get you down, when they get you in a bad situation, they finish you. Luke Rockhold, all of his wins, finishes in the UFC. That is incredible.
All right, just moments away from our main event. This wild and wide open middleweight division could very well get some clarity in this headliner. Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero, both with the hopes of setting up a date with the undisputed champion.
No one pushes as hard as me. No one gets as dirty as me. No one can go as far as me.
This is it. He's got the neck. Look at him. He's going to tap. He's going to tap.
Luke Rockhold is the new UFC middleweight champion of the world.
This is everything. I've given my life to this sport. This is my time. This is my title. That's all it comes down to.
When Luke Rockhold gets you down, you are in for another level of ground and pound. What you see is a crushing, smashing top game like no one else in the middleweight division.
This is the worst spot to be.
Luke Rockhold stops David Branch in round 2.
When I'm focused, there's no one in this game that can beat me. 2018 is going to be my year. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to put away Yoel Romero, and I'm going to go stop Robert Whittaker.
Me gusta este enfrentamiento. La gente quiere ver los mejores. Las personas quieren ver los mejores. Los fanáticos quieren ver los mejores. Y aquí estamos nosotros.
This fight between Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold is for the interim 185-pound title due to an injury to the champion, Robert Whittaker.
Ya hoy en día, en el momento que en el punto de mi carrera donde yo estoy, ya lo que queda es eso, cinturón. Y es por el sentido con el cual estoy luchando.
Yoel Romero, not only does he have the Olympic wrestling pedigree, his striking is incredibly athletic. It's incredibly unpredictable. He can look relaxed, like he's not paying attention, and then bam!
Got something, man.
This is about fighting the best in the world. Yoel is one of the best in the world. The only other guy to beat Yoel in the UFC is Robert Whittaker, and they had a very close fight.
Y aprendí mucho después de la pelea con Robert Whittaker, que cuando se está ganando, ve y destruye. No des chance, no des más a que el oponente respire.
Both of us travel across the world to fight each other in Australia and Perth. I think we're going to put on an amazing show for the fans, and I'm going to put them away.
Only he can stop the reign. Here's the former undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Luke Rockhold, currently number 2 in the world. And most people believe skill for skill, on the ground, on the feet. This is the most talented 185-pound fighter of all time.
There is nothing he cannot do. That's what makes him special.
Tonight's Prep Point brought to you by AirAsia. Connect to over 130 destinations across Asia, Australia, and beyond. With the world's best low-cost airline, now everyone can fly.
This is a guy who hasn't gone the distance since he fought Jacare in Strikeforce September 2011. Considering the division he is in the UFC, that is an incredible accomplishment. When I looked at his fight, his last one against David Branch, all I was looking for wasn't will he win, will he do this, will he do that? Will he tighten up the defensive issues that cost him against Michael Bisping? You saw Branch put it on him early in that fight. That's the one question mark for Luke Rockhold. People don't like him. He's cocky. He kind of fights like that. He can drop his hands and kind of dare his opponent to come at him. That might cost him against Yoel Romero. As tactically good as he is, as technically good as he is, he tends to have that problem of letting those hands down and letting his opponent into the fight.
You see that striking accuracy, 61%, 4th highest in UFC history, second only to Anderson Silva in this middleweight division. Average fight length only 6.5 minutes, so only once in the UFC has he gone past a second round. Tonight we'll see how it goes for him against Yoel Romero, and also in terms of the cockiness and the public perception. I love the line he had on UFC in bed. He said, I don't like the underdog role. That's not my role. I'm the favorite. And I think he subscribes to that theory really in everything he does in life.
Own it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does.
Luke Rockhold trying to become a 2-time UFC champion tonight as he draws the soldier of God, Yoel Romero. Representing American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida, here is the soldier of God, Yoel Romero, the #1 ranked middleweight contender, 40 years old, 10th UFC appearance tonight, 7 of his 8 UFC wins by knockout or TKO.
And despite all the trash talk, everything they said about one another, especially Rockhold after the win, he respects Yoel Romero's ability. He says his ability to cut angles, that's what makes him so dangerous. His movement, his explosiveness. I have to be prepared for all those things. It's so hard to get ready for a guy like Yoel Romero. There aren't many athletes in any sport who can do what he does.
And even though Luke did say he feels like Romero is overconfident, he was very quick to laud his gameness. He feels like this is a guy who on fight night shows up and rises to the proverbial occasion. We'll see if Romero can do it here tonight. Now, his last fight was against Robert Whittaker last July for the interim middleweight title. Tonight, that is not in front of him because he weighed 187.7 pounds yesterday. He
knew he was fighting Luke Rockhold in a 5-round fight. That is still happening. That needs to be his priority, and I think it is. His issue, when we talk about the defense of Luke Rockhold, Yoel Romero, it's his pacing. It's hard to find 2 rounds where he fights with the same pace. Jacare exploded in round 1, led him back into the fight in round 2 as he slowed down. Against Chris Weidman, did almost nothing in round 1, and he explodes in round 2, finishes in round 3. It's that ability to pace himself for 25 minutes. That's been his issue.
And in terms of the athleticism, Joe Rogan calls him the freak of the freaks. Yoel Romero taking on Luke Rockhold tonight.
Marathon runners are freaks too, but they're a different kind of freak, and that's what you got to keep in mind. He's an explosive kind of freak.
And you're right, if he can dispatch Luke Rockhold here tonight, he still will get the desired result. Remains to be seen what would be next, but a huge opportunity regardless in front of Yoel Romero here tonight in Perth, Western Australia. All right, table is set. Let's get to the tail of the tape for this championship main event between Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold. Romero will be 41 in April. Luke Rockhold is 33. Rockhold, the taller man by 3 inches. You see there the weight, 187.7 for Romero. Rockhold will have a reach advantage of 3.5 inches. Now for the official introductions for this main event, we turn it over to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening, sponsored by Air Asia. Now everyone can fly. Sanctioned by the West Australia Combat Sports Commission. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Charlie Keach, Mark Collette, and Barry Foley. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Mark Goddard. And now, for those in attendance and UFC fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the sold-out Perth Arena down under in Perth, Western Australia. It's time! 5 rounds for the interim UFC middleweight championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 16 wins, 3 losses. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 185 pounds. Fighting out of Santa Cruz, California, USA, presenting the former Strikeforce middleweight champion and the former UFC middleweight champion and the #2 UFC middleweight contender in the world, Luke Rockhold. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 12 wins, 2 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 187.7 pounds. Fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, by way of Pinar del Rio, Cuba, presenting the 2000 Olympics freestyle wrestling silver medalist and the #1 UFC middleweight contender in the world, Yoel, Soldier of God, Romero! Okay, gentlemen, you understand the rules you're fighting under. You listen to me at all times, you keep yourself protected. When I say stop, you will stop. Let's do this.
Buckle up, Jimmy Smith. Hard to believe that these guys haven't met before. Luke Rockhold and Yoel Romero, two of the unquestioned best middleweights in the world, meeting tonight in this UFC interim middleweight championship fight. Yoel Romero, 8-1 in the UFC.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Ready, come on, let's do it.
Taking on the former king, Luke Rockhold. And with that touch of gloves, we are underway. Rockhold is in black, Yoel Romero is in white. Southpaw versus Southpaw in our main event.
Robert Whittaker, of course, beating Yoel Romero. I would take a page out of that book if I'm Luke Rockhold. What he did, he used the rear leg a lot. He didn't let Yoel Romero rest. A guy like Yoel Romero is always doing one of two things. He's unloading or he's reloading. When he's reloading, don't let him stand for free. Don't let him stay on the outside and get his gas back. Hit him with something. That's the key to, I think, Luke Rockhold's strategy tonight. Whittaker was able to use that rear foot. He was always kicking him. He was always hitting him with a straight right hand. He never let him sit on the outside and recharge his batteries.
Rockhold has gone 25 minutes twice in his career. Neither of those fights in the UFC.
He has already cut the shin of Luke Rockhold with that check. There's blood coming down the shin of Luke Rockhold. He checked the kick twice, and it hurt him. There's blood going all the way down his foot.
Right. Rockhold lands to the body underneath that right elbow of Yoel Romero.
It's a great message to send early. You're not going to leg kick me for free. I'm going to check you.
Romero loading up on the left hand, as he will do oftentimes. 90 seconds gone by round one of a possible 5 tonight. Rockhold had a big win over Michael Bisping in Australia, has a pretty good following here down under.
Yes, he was higher with that leg kick that time. He aimed for the thigh, tried to keep it away from the shin, because it was just a turn check last time. He didn't lift his leg, he just turned his shin out. Aim a little bit higher and you hit the thigh. That's what he did.
Romero thought about a question mark kick there.
Another thing Robert Whittaker did very effectively against Romero, whenever he came in, he never put his head down. He never put his head in flying knee position. He kept his chin down. He tended to keep his body upright to negate the flying knee. See right now, Luke Rockhold staying very upright.
Rockhold right back to it, attacking that lead leg of his opponent. And now Romero returns fire, just over 2 minutes to go here in the round. You got to be so careful fighting Romero. You talk about the reload. Deceptively quick for a man his size, and the burst of explosion. Perhaps an awkward land there from Rockhold?
Yeah, I think so. But Rockhold said, he said that explosive style, the problem is that he's not technical. There are gaps in there. When he explodes, I can take advantage of it. But that's risky.
And now Romero starting to do some pretty good work to that lead leg of Luke Rockhold. Oh, that left hand landed over the top.
Romero's legs are gigantic. That's where he gets all that hip power, all that leg power. That's where it is. Looks down and goes high. You see, he looked down at the foot, then came in with some strikes over the top.
Front kick has been there for Rockhold when he's gone to it.
But I haven't seen a lot of push kicks, a lot of teeps. Robert Whittaker used a lot of those against Romero, and they were very effective.
Under a minute now to go in this first round.
Rockhold showing a lot of respect so far. Being very cautious.
Good start for Luke Rockhold on the feet. Both guys, though, a little bit calculated and methodical here in the early going.
Another thing, a good round against Romero. A lot of times means he's loading up, getting ready for the next round.
Minutes down. Into the red corner of Yoel Romero.
You're good. You know what he has now. Get inside. Your kicks are effective. Then throw punches. The kicks are effective.
You know, you can always hit it. Play with your jab condition. Then when he's reacting, you kick. Show your right hand kick too, to the head. From a distance. How's your leg feeling when you have the little cut? He's hurt there, right? Yeah, I think so. Use your hands first.
He doesn't deal with angles.
Or no rush, right? You got a lot of time.
He doesn't deal with angles well. Use your angles.
Don't just stand in front. Keep moving on him too. Okay?
Jimmy, hard to make out everything that Henry Hooft and Bob Cook and Javier Mendez were saying, but they did ask Luke about the leg, even if they didn't treat the cut.
Yeah, they did, and they talked about angles. Don't stand in front of this guy. Very important.
And you also heard a buzzword in there, patience. Plenty of time, still 20 minutes to go in this one.
Last thing you want to do is rush against a guy as explosive as Romero. A good right hand, that hurt him.
Rockhold ate some power shots there. Now Romero working the body.
Once again, maybe lackadaisical at the end of the round, but round two, he'll go after you. Round one, he took off a lot. Round two, he starts strong. That's Yoel Romero.
A mouse and a cut now above that right eyebrow for Luke Rockhold.
Back into reload mode. Unload, reload. It's exactly what Yoel Romero does.
Good start to round two for the underdog, Yoel Romero. Another cracking right hand there. We saw the betting line move fairly substantially after Yoel Romero missed weight, so he closed about a plus 150 underdog tonight. Well, immediately following the main event, don't miss a recap of all of tonight's action from Perth on the FS1 UFC 221 post-fight show, also streaming live on Fox Sports Go. In Canada, you can find it on TSN.
The kicks that were really active in round one are considerably less active in round two for Rockhold. High kick is great, but things like the push, the teep, things that are kind of low risk are very good at keeping Yoel Romero off balance and at a distance. And then less of that. That leg kick, a couple of those checks from Yoel Romero, Rockhold hasn't gone back to it a whole lot.
Romero doing a nice job defensively, getting that right hand up. Certainly expected that he'd get a lot of those high kicks from Rockhold tonight.
Very good job.
2 minutes have gone by in this second round. Prevailing wisdom coming in was that Rockhold would have the advantage if we hit rounds 4 or 5, but Romero pacing himself quite well here early. And he's the guy whose average fight length is over 12 minutes in the UFC. So,
and what I meant in the beginning, when I said, you know, marathon runners are freaks too, is Yoel Romero is an explosive guy. He was in an explosive sport. Remember when he was in the Olympics, it was 2 3-minute rounds. His physiology and the sport he chose reward him exploding for short amounts of time and then getting a break in between matches in a tournament.
Right.
And so a marathon runner paces himself for as long as they have to until the marathon's over. Yoel Romero chose a sport that matches the way his body functions explosively, and that's how he fights.
Pretty good combination. Rockhold circles out of harm's way, but Romero starting to really find the range here in this second round.
Been a lot of the second round has been at boxing range. That's why Romero has had success. That's interesting. Hammer fist to the lead leg. Why not? I don't think that's the kind of fight Rockhold wants, is a fight at boxing range. Wants to be at kicking range. That's where he's so dangerous.
these significant strikes in round 2. No surprise, the advantage to the Soldier of God. 90 seconds now to go in this second round.
Once again, that little turn check. Doesn't lift the leg, just turns the knee to the outside. It's quick. And it's hurt Rockhold. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen even an attempt at a takedown by either guy. Both guys so deadly on the ground, especially with their ground and pound. It's been a stand-up battle. I don't think either guy wants to risk it. We haven't seen much of it in round 2 either, as the angles that his corner was calling for. A lot of this Rockhold been standing in front of Romero. Right.
Sometimes at the elite levels, fights can play out like this a little bit. A lot of mutual respect on both sides. Certainly Rockhold respects the power coming back his way. He retreats nearly every time Romero flurries. Nice jab by Rockhold, starting to do some good work with the hands now.
And he doubled and tripled it up. That's why it took Romero by surprise. It wasn't just one and done. A little chippiness at the end of the round, but here's where Yoel Romero did damage. Pushing forward, nice right hand to the temple, another good left, putting a lot of pressure on Luke Rockhold. Getting him against the fence, making it about the boxing, making it about hands, speed, explosiveness, all of Yoel Romero's advantages.
Keep circling now. Go right, go left, mostly go left. But if you stay on that movement, that's going to be your bread and butter. Stay on the movement, keep activity, stay relaxed.
So he's going to burst the first 30 seconds again. Remember, hands up movement, let him in.
Keep moving.
Kick, key, jab, movement. And when you got him,
Intelligent. Go forward.
Even when Yoel Romero lands partially, he still can do significant damage, evidenced by that second round. You heard Henry Hoof, too, expecting a flurry here, a burst in these first 30 seconds. You agree?
Almost certainly. Yeah, that's where he did his most damage in round 2. Wouldn't surprise me if he did it again.
Third round underway. Luke Rockhold in the black trunks, Yoel Romero in gray. Call it Chuck.
Hard part about fighting Yoel Romero is you don't know when the explosion is going to come. You know it's going to come, you just don't know when.
Jab increasingly becoming a factor for Rockhold tonight.
every step is a jab and you move back.
Well, no burst yet here early round 3 from Yoel Romero. Rockhold continuing to be the far busier man tonight, as we expected in terms of the ball.
And that's been an issue in certain Yoel Romero fights, is his tendency to take rounds or parts of rounds off, his activity level not being high enough. It's made fights much closer than they should have been.
Romero's striking defense outstanding, coming in nearly 65%, and that's exactly where it is at tonight. Pretty tactical, deliberate fight thus far.
I'm curious to see if Rockhold turns it up. Round 3, 4, and 5. Romero, I don't think he has faith in Romero's gas tank. He said, yeah, he went 25 minutes against Robert Whitaker, but he did slow down late in that fight. Rockhold could be waiting for that to really unload. Oh! That's it!
Romero with a knockdown! Yoel Romero has done it! Romero knocks Luke Rockhold out cold.
We talk about the explosiveness. We talk about the power. He proves he can do it again. This time against Luke Rockhold. Great stuff from Yoel Romero. And he is still down. Great shot.
This is one of the most incredible athletes you will ever see. Romero trying to show Rockhold some respect. Luke doesn't really know where he is yet, I wouldn't think. But Yoel Romero, folks, 8th UFC knockout in 9 wins, and perhaps not the time, I wouldn't think, to be talking to Luke right now.
No, not necessarily. He's upset, but you know, it's one of those things, we don't know when the explosion's coming. Anyone who fights Yoel Romero, you don't know when it's coming, but it is. And here it was, the left hand right over the top on the temple. And the second left, good night. Beautiful shot. He caught Luke Rockhold leaning to his left. Beautiful accuracy, great power. Just 2. 1 on the feet, 1 on the ground. And that is it. Good night. Yoel Romero, another beautiful knockout finish, and he is limping. He had to limp to his stool. Something may be wrong with his leg, but great stuff by Yoel Romero.
And he pointed to the thigh and also the lower leg. Looks like maybe he's calling for, well, I don't know. I'm not going to try to guess what he's doing, but this is just a really special fighter. And obviously yesterday he was unable to make weight. There were myriad issues reportedly that led to that. But he still came out and knocked out Luke Rockhold tonight.
The future's in the future. You know, who knows what'll happen. Maybe we'll have to have a rematch again, make 185. He won tonight. That's what's important for him. That's what's important moving forward. He had a job to do and he did it.
So at 40 years old, Yoel Romero, with arguably the biggest win of his professional life, he improves to 9-1 in the UFC. And you got to think at some point those championship stakes are going to come around again for the knockout artist and Olympic silver medalist in freestyle wrestling, Yoel Romero. With that, one final time tonight, we turn it over to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Goddard has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 48 seconds of the 3rd round. Declaring the winner by knockout, Yoel, Soldier of God, Romero. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your main event winner. We are here with the Soldier of God, Yoel Romero. Congratulations on an epic victory here tonight. Your thoughts on the fight, sir?
The first I want to say is thank you, God, for everything that you give me in my life. I want to say I'm so sorry for Robert Whittaker. Normally, he is the guy when he stay here, but that is the plan for God. And the second, I want to say I'm so sorry for the cold way so bad for me. That is the first time in my career when I not can put my body down. That's but I want to say thank you for everybody coming tonight.
Yoel, you fought a very smart fight tonight. Was this the fight you expected against Luke Rockhold?
Yeah, you know, Rockhold is a very good athlete, amazing fighter. You know, he's a champion, Strikeforce champion for the UFC. He needed respect, and I'm very happy because I fight, and this time I fight with everyone for the best in my division.
I know you're disappointed we don't have a belt for you here tonight, but this is a huge win against Luke Rockhold. Got to think at some point you're going to have that UFC gold around your waist, yes?
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, UFC. Thank you, Donna. I want to say this girl is amazing. He pushed me every day, and my last time when I called away, he go with me in the sauna. He pushed myself. Thank you, Donna.
One of the best in the world, an honor to watch you perform tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the Soldier of God, Yoel Romero.
Another knockout for Yoel Romero, an explosive left hand. Look at this, over the top, right on the temple. Set up with the jab, 2 of them, then bang. Face down, that is all she wrote. And that was just icing on the cake. The left hand put his lights out. Great stuff by Yoel Romero. Silenced a lot of doubters tonight in this performance against Luke Rockhold. Like you said, John, perhaps the biggest victory of his career. Amazing stuff.
He's had a lot of big ones, Jacare Souza, Chris Weidman, but none bigger, in my humble opinion, than the one he secures tonight. That post-fight interview was brought to you by EA Sports UFC 3. Become the GOAT in the best UFC game ever made. EA Sports UFC 3, available now on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. UFC 221, Romero versus Rockhold, has been brought to you by General Tire. Make your SUV more SUV.
If you want to get hurt, I know a guy.
On a special night, Sunday.
One of the baddest dudes to ever step foot in the octagon.
Cowboy Cerrone takes on the rising Yancy Medeiros.
I'm here to represent.
That was a statement.
Plus, heavyweights Lewis and Tabora collide. UFC Fight Night on a special night, Sunday, 6 Eastern on FS1.
Easily the most anticipated UFC debut of 2018 thus far. Striking wizard Israel Adesanya makes his first walk to the octagon for a showdown with Australia's Razor Rob Wilkinson.
You ready? Let's go, gentlemen.
A lot of the headlines have been garnered by his opponent Israel Adesanya, but a big opportunity for Wilkinson tonight. He is in blue, the newcomer Adesanya in black.
Also the mental side, Wilkinson coming off the first loss of his career, a knockout loss, which stopped pretty late. He took a lot of damage in that fight. How will that affect him going into this one?
Already an early stance switch from the switch stance fighter, Israel Adesanya. An accomplished kickboxer. He's drawn some comparisons to John Jones. We'll see if he can live up to all of these expectations here tonight against Wilkinson.
One thing he has to do is not let the hype get to him. A lot of people talk about him, John Jones, Anderson Silva, stuff like that. Hey, get in there, win the fight, do what you do, worry about the hype later. Don't feel the need to live up to it and have a spectacular finish in the first round. Just get the win.
Adesanya, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt under Andre Galvao, but Wilkinson figured to have a grappling advantage tonight. More than half of Wilkinson's pro wins have come by submission.
I think he needs to rely on those skills tonight. Get an outside trip, get on top. Look at that wizard, beautiful balance. Cow catcher position, wrestling, lets it go. Head chancery. This is the kind of fight you want if you're Wilkinson.
No doubt about it.
Dirty against the fence, grinding. Rely on that clinch. Take the energy out of an explosive opponent.
And of course, try to extend a fighter who has never gone 15 minutes in his pro career. 11-0 for Adesanya. All 11 wins by knockout, 5 in round 1.
Nice job with the trip. Adesanya, very good job getting back to his feet. Excellent balance.
There is a healthy rivalry between Australia and New Zealand.
And look at that tenacity with the takedown. Didn't let him off the hook. Stayed with the single leg, stayed with the pressure in the back against the fence. That's the kind of tenacity he's going to need to get the takedown here.
Another level change here for Rob Wilkinson. 2.5 minutes gone by round 1.
Go inside straight away.
Like you said, he got on the radar, kind of beating up Melvin Gillard. Great performance in that fight, but Melvin Gillard has fought at 55. Certainly not a natural middleweight. Wilkinson is. Much more physical pressure here than he's used to.
Right. Looks like some blood in and around that nose of Rob Wilkinson. Not exactly sure what caused it.
You can tell Wilkinson wants no distance at all.
Right. Sage strategy against someone like Adesanya. Now we get some separation. About 2 minutes to go, round 1. We'll see what the last style bender can do now at range. Showing some feints here to Wilkinson.
So far being patient. Tend to work from the outside. Nice lead hook right hand. And Wilkinson wants to do a beautiful job with the roll. And that's athleticism, my friend. He rolled right through that.
Adesanya makes this middleweight limit with ease. Came in at 183 pounds, 3 pounds to spare here yesterday. And the takedown defense is largely held up, Jim.
The strategy here, of course, Wilkinson wants a takedown. If he can't get it, just keep this fight close and make it about long-term energy depletion. Take the energy out of my opponent, even if I can't take him down.
42 seconds.
And also test the mentality. This guy's not used to long fights. Make it grueling. See if he'll get frustrated because he can't get his game going.
Pretty good job by Wilkinson to pull that post and get Adesanya down, but only for a couple seconds. Israel back to his feet.
Yeah, certainly not efficient with the takedowns so far. He's putting in a lot of work for very few takedowns, but he's able to wear Adesanya down. I think that could be the goal in round 1.
2 takedowns on 10 attempts in round 1 for Razor Rob Wilkinson. Round 2, forthcoming from Perth. Stay with us.
Breathe, brother, breathe. Just focus on your breathing. That's what I need to focus on.
Just need to get that over there, that puddle over there. Just breathe, just relax. Just don't settle on the cage, just try and get up a little sooner.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just, like I said, just like he's catching a little front kick. Even though you're flicking it, he's just diving at it.
Yeah.
So no kicks.
Okay.
He's open for the punches. Drop the shots a little lower.
Rob, listen. Well, look at the guy sitting on his stool, okay? Look at him sitting on his stool. You earned it this round. Listen, I want you to stick to A. Sorry, guys. Stick to A. Keep your hands sharp. Keep coming forward. He just stings, okay? Clinch, win the fight. Break him down. Rob, I don't want you to break concentration, okay? Let's go.
Stay back. Just get back a bit, Israel.
5 minutes down, potentially 10 to go here between Israel Adesanya and Rob Wilkinson. Jimmy, any major takeaways from either corner after round 1?
Yeah, Rob Wilkinson's corner said, look at how he's sitting on the stool. He's tired. It's all about energy. Stick to the game plan. They don't want him getting creative and getting knocked out.
As Adesanya misses high with that kick. You just get the sense everyone is waiting with bated breath to see this highly touted prospect. Wilkinson again closes the distance, whiffs on the left hand.
Wilkinson's corner didn't talk about the takedown. They talked about energy, about wearing him down, breaking him down, and winning the fight.
In 2 minutes, 5 minutes, we're going home. You can have the victory and lose. Let's go.
Oh, nice jab.
Drive the check. Let's go. High ground. Take start. Come on, baby. Keep moving the feet off.
Nice combination to the body. Like the speed on that jab. Finally, a good separation after a takedown attempt.
Yeah, Adesanya starting to get a read a little bit on that Wilkinson shot. He saw it 10 times in round 1. 12 takedown attempts now for Wilkinson. And that was a big message from the Adesanya corner as well, Jimmy, to focus on the hands and not the feet when it comes to his strike.
Exactly. Don't let him catch it and take you down. Make him earn it with a takedown.
Even when it gets partially blocked.
Yeah, done with these gloves, it makes no difference. Nice knee.
Nice job by Wilkinson, though, to stay committed and ground Adesanya at least temporarily there.
I don't think he had much of a choice. Those punches did not feel good. He committed to that takedown. Survival's a hell of a motivator, John.
Wilkinson with an underhook here, content to run a little bit of clock. Just over 3 minutes here in round 2.
You know, he's doing well with the wizard. He's doing well, you know, pummeling inside, not getting the takedown. He needs to angle off the fence. Needs a little bit more footwork to not be in these positions against the fence.
Go inside, underhook.
Not getting taken down is good, but you want to angle and get back to the center of the octagon where he's done good work.
big, deep breath from Rob Wilkinson. Adesanya pressing forward. Oh, uppercut followed up with a knee.
These strikes are quick and they're accurate. Nose might be broken.
Yeah,
a lot of blood coming out of it.
Looks a little rearranged.
And what that affects so much is the breathing. Beautiful job with that defense. Man, starting to take Wilkinson apart with the strikes. That hurt him.
Not sure how much more Wilkinson can take. Adesanya to the knee, now back to the hands.
Moving his head, but not enough. Spit blood on him.
Wilkinson exhausted, attempted 16 takedowns. And the end here might be a formality. Big right hand.
This looks like physical surrender to me. He's not answering back. He just has his hands up. It's not going to take much for the referee to stop this one. This is a punching bag right now.
Oh, huge right hand from Adesanya after Wilkinson had landed a knee. Not sure how much more Steve Percival needs to see. There's a knee.
Yeah, this guy is done. That's it.
Israel Adesanya. So-so according to him, but the last style bender does it 12-0. He makes good on the UFC debut tonight.
What I like about that finish is that there was no one big punch. He didn't load up for one shot. It was a lot of accurate strikes. No overcommitment to any one shot. Good maturity with his striking, for sure.
And the takedown defense certainly held up for Adesanya. Let's get to the move of the fight. It is sponsored by Metro PCS, bringing you closer than ever to the UFC, putting knockout coverage in your hands by covering 99% of people in the U.S.
And look at these shots. Beautiful stuff with the jab. That's what set everything up. Combinations to the body. But look at it here, an even-paced attack. Didn't go crazy, didn't go nuts. Didn't allow Wilkinson to clinch and get the takedown. Right here, body, head, knee. Great combinations, angling as he's punching. This is the kind of finish you want for your first UFC fight. It showed that he has real maturity on the feet. The rest of the strikers in this division, you're on notice.
And Adesanya made it very clear, getting to the UFC is not the dream. This is only the beginning. And he gets it done in a big way here tonight. We will talk to Israel Adesanya as the prelims continue live from Perth. Go nowhere. Well, a lot of eyeballs on Israel Adesanya here tonight. That guy is must-see television. Appointment viewing for me, and he certainly lived up to the hype. And, of course, there is the night's biggest winner, Jimmy Yoel Romero.
Yeah, not just a win, a knockout. Emphatic left hand finished it. We knew he had physical talent, but to get a KO finish against Luke Rockhold, maybe the biggest win of his career. Great stuff for Yoel Romero.
And I know he missed weight, but perhaps a rematch with Robert Whittaker will be next, just on the strength of this result. Huge result for him.
One thing that's important to keep in mind, he didn't have a full camp for this fight, right? And he's not known for missing weight. You know, it's not a guy who's missed 3 or 4 times and does he deserve a shot. He did miss weight, but not a habit from him, and he had a short camp. So it wouldn't surprise me if Robert Whittaker is next.
And here is Yoel Romero limping on the way out, and Luke Rockhold will hit the reset button. You thought defensively he shored up some things, but the chin didn't hold up tonight.
He looked better, but the jab set it up, and as soon as that left hand hit, I don't know anyone in the division who could have kept fighting. Those shots were extremely powerful.
All right, an honor to be next to you, Jimmy Smith, for your UFC commentary debut. Looking forward to the next time we get to do this. What a night it was here in Perth, WA. Here's a look at what's coming up inside the octagon. Next Sunday, Donald Cowboy Cerrone matches up with Hawaiian standout Yancy Medeiros. The main card from Austin, Texas goes down at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on FS1. Then we're back on Fox Saturday, February 24th for a featherweight headliner between rising contender Josh Emmett and division staple Jeremy Stephens. It's Fox UFC Fight Night. Emmett versus Stephens at 8 p.m. Eastern on the 24th from Orlando. Then the month of March kicks off with a pay-per-view event from Las Vegas's T-Mobile Arena. It is UFC 222, Cyborg versus Kunitskaya. Saturday, March 3rd, 10 in the East and 7 in the West. And on March 17th, UFC Fight Pass is your destination for a heavyweight tilt between Fabricio Verdum and Alexander Volkov from the O2 Arena in London, England. The Fight Pass main card gets going at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. The UFC 221 post-fight show with Karen Bryant, Tyron Woodley, Michael Bisping, and Megan O'Leary is already underway on FS1. For those of you watching in Canada, you can flip it over to TSN as soon as we're done. The executive producers of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC President Dana White, Ari Emanuel, and Patrick Weitzel. Our Executive VP of Operations and Production is Craig Borsari. Our coordinating producer with us here in Perth, Zach Candido. Tonight's show has been directed by Anthony Pasquale Giordano, and all of our thoughts and prayers continue to be with our longtime producer and leader, Bruce Connell, unable to be with us here tonight in Perth. This one was for you, BC. And what a jaunt it was to Western Australia. Tai Tuivasa. If he wasn't on the mat before, he certainly is now. A big first-round knockout of Cyril Asker. And you got to think a ranked contender will be next for Bam Bam Tuivasa. And that set the stage for the co-main event. Curtis Razor Blades had to battle through some early adversity, but the takedown game was on point. And Mark Hunt was fighting off of his back in the end. Curtis Razor Blades was too much. And he has vaulted right into heavyweight contention, will likely be in the top 5 next week. And how about Yoel Romero with a knockout of Luke Rockhold to keep himself firmly in the mix at 185 pounds tonight. Rockhold back to the drawing board. Yoel with a big win tonight. For Jimmy Smith, I'm John Anik. We'll see you next month from Vegas.